Pablo. I'm kind of a big deal. I'm a big rock star. Here's my albums. You want some of my albums? I'm Max the Axe. I'm going to play for you one of my brand new songs. This one's called Oktoberfest Cheer. Thank you. I'm Max the Axe. Welcome to the LeBrain Train Halloween show. I'm Max the Axe. Hey, I'm not Max the Axe, but I am LeBrain. You know what? Let's just fix this real quick. There we go. Can't have... There. My name has to be under my face. And yes, Harrison is going to be our co-host tonight. The weekly series finale of the LeBrain Train. Me supporting for doo-doo. Phantom Menace reference for those of you who don't know. We are drinking Nespresso tonight. We have some ginger ale for the cold beverage. And once again, as ill-advised as it may be, we have alcohol tonight. And that didn't work well for my insides last time, but who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? It is the last of the weekly shows. We have the lake cam, as you can see. We had some Sooners on camera earlier. But we do also have an additional special list tonight that's going to be from Harrison. We're going to run it before the beginning of the show. So now. And we're going to do his Nigel Tufnell Top 10. Albums that you would say from a fire, which is the list that we did last week. So, without further ado, please welcome Harrison.
coursing through his veins, but he won't settle for the same old same. You try to sway him, but it's all in vain. He will never change. So this is how we say happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man. Hey, hey, hey. The Mad Metal Man. Hey, hey, hey. 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 Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, 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 Harrison.
Oh, that's one T-Bone song down.
One T-Bone song down. How come? Hang on.
I'm sure we'll hear more today.
Yes, I guarantee you we will hear more today. I guarantee we were going to hear some oldies and a new one. And how are you today, sir?
I am good, thanks.
Excellent.
How about you?
Mixed feelings.
Oh.
This is... I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I just received a list from John T. Snow. I just received a list from Rob Daniels. I have 2 lists from T-Bone. Uncle Meat is going to be showing up at 7:15 to do his list. So here's what we're going to do. First, you're going to do your top 10 that you would save from a fire. And at 7 o'clock, we will start the show. We'll tell people what is going on. Around 7:15, we're going to play the new T-Bone song and then bring on the Meat Man to read his list.
All right.
Sound good?
That's good. Yep.
So that means you're up with your Nigel Tufnell top 10 albums that you would have saved from a fire if you were here last week.
Yes. I'm not going to get into the reasons why I'm doing this list just yet.
Okay.
But I'll start with honorable mentions. There's 2. The first is Pink Floyd's Pulse, which I don't have show and tell for because it's still up there doing its thing.
I can see it.
And the reason it didn't make the list was because basically I was only saving it for the packaging because it's that first edition flashing light, and everything else I'm saving for the music. So it just got bumped because, it just wasn't worth it compared to the other things I could grab. And the second one is an honorable mention because it's not actually part of my collection. It's from my dad's, and I'm just borrowing it for show and tell. But it's this Meatloaf. Sorry for the reflection. You can see Lake Cam in Meatloaf's hellscape.
You can.
But yeah, sorry for the lighting. It's a cloudy morning, so the sun's not showing up. Anyway, it's Meatloaf's Hits Out of Hell, and the reason why I choose this one as sort of like my honorable mention is thanks, Rob. Sorry.
We'll talk about that in detail, Rob. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about that in detail.
I was kicking myself over that, but yeah, we'll get to that. Anyway, the reason why this is an honorable mention for my dad's collection is because this original Australian CD release is the only CD release of a song called Lost Love. I've never heard the song before, but I hear that this sort of thing is valuable to certain people. No one I can think of.
No one I know.
Wouldn't bother saving that because then it's not important anyway.
Right.
The actual list.
Yeah.
First up is Deep Purple's
nice.
Live in Newcastle 2001. This is my favorite Deep Purple live album. And 20,000 isn't exactly what you call the hugest limited edition, the most limited edition, but this was released 2 years ago, and I'd rather not pay the late tax if I don't have to on this. The other thing I've got to be mindful of is this is cardboard packaging, so I'd better get to this one fast.
Right.
So I tried not to have too much cardboard packaging on my list because they're extra flammable.
Yeah.
Next
I'm
up
just going to leave you on solo layout, just so you know.
Next up does have a Deep Purple connection as well. I've talked about this one on the show a bit. It's Living Loud. It's a short-lived supergroup from around 2004, 2005, and this is their debut studio album and a live DVD on it. So it's a bit obscure, so not exactly the easiest to replay, and it's just a 2-in-1 good pack. My collection's a bit small, so stuff which is just a bit hard to get a hold of as opposed to like super rare is what's making my list. And to continue that trend is 98 Live Meltdown. You know, I don't exactly have a spare £330 lying around, so I wouldn't be able to replace this one for a decent price if I lost it.
What? Are you kidding me?
Although, to be fair, considering that a certain box set is coming out, you know, I might find some of these on eBay for cheap. Hopefully Demolition and Live in London too, because I don't have those and I want those. Do
we know why that one is so expensive right now?
Oh, it's just out of print Ripper era. All the Ripper era stuff is expensive. Oh, the £329 is the box set, not the actual 98 Live Meltdown.
Got you. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, it is a little more expensive than I'd be comfortable paying if I can. So I'd grab it if I could. But, you know, as I said, maybe Demolition Live in London will start going cheaper now that the box set's coming out and people won't try to flip their old copies.
Guaranteed.
I'm hoping so.
Guaranteed.
Now we get to something kind of rare. It's your number one last time was the first 10 years. I don't have the first 10 years, but I do have one of those years.
Yeah.
This is a, which side? Japanese version.
There it is.
That's the Japanese version. It doesn't have all the tracks. You know, you don't even get a Japanese bonus track of Wrathchild, but which means I'll be buying Made in Japan again at some point, making it the third time. But sorry, the fourth time I buy something called Made in Japan. But you know, this is just Made in Japan on CD, which I didn't have, so I got it. It was a decent price. It's only one disc, so it was a little expensive, but it was in like perfect condition and, you know, made in Japan. So what more do I need to say?
Correct.
Next up, Eddie's Archive is a bit hard to get a hold of these days, but a couple years ago, I did manage to get Beast Over Hammersmith for a really good price. The same price that I got that Purgatory Made in Japan, actually.
Decent.
And yeah, I'd rather not have to go and try to look for this again and try to replace it. So, yeah, definitely picking up Beast Over Hammersmith on the way out. You're probably not going to like this next one, but I was surprised when I was rewatching one of the shows that you mentioned you had a Paul Di'Anno solo album because, yeah, that didn't strike me as the sort of thing you'd buy.
No, but sorry. It's a Paul Di'Anno with Praying Mantis.
Ah, yes, okay.
And Dennis Stratton.
That makes a lot more sense as to why you have that. But I do have a Paul Di'Anno solo album.
Oh.
It's a cover's not the best. It is a live album. It's called The Beast. On the front cover, it says The Beast Live. On the back cover, it says The Live Beast. So, yeah, this is pretty obscure. It's from 2001, Spitfire Records. Very hard to get a hold of. When I bought it, it wasn't even on YouTube, save for like one song. And it's a shame, really, because it's the best thing he's released in his solo career, because it's all archive live recordings from his archives up to 2001. So it's actually, you know, quite good compared to some of his later live releases. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a record company suit that did put this together, because Killers is misspelled killer on the back. And along with the 9 Maiden covers, there's also Women in Uniform. Now, the jury's still out as to whether it was put on there because Maiden covered it or because the guy who was putting this together didn't know that it wasn't a Maiden original. But I don't mind. It's heavied up versions of all these songs, and it's an enjoyable listen. Some of them benefit from them, like Wrathchild, and others, like Murders in the Rue Morgue, is a bit of a scatterbrained mess when not approached with the utmost precision and sophistication. But it's rare, and I like it. So,
right.
Ramble about Paul Di'Anno over. Next up is another thing called Made in Japan.
Ah, yes.
This is a soundboard bootleg from the day after the original show was released. It's the full show plus I think it's a full show. Maybe it's missing one or two songs on an encore. And I've got the fire from Live at the Marquee tacked on at the end for some reason. Not only is this very hard to get a hold of, but I paid $60 to buy and ship this here. This thing is bloody well coming with me.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, next up, you probably recognize this one. We talked about it, end of July. Electric Light Orchestra Zoom Tour Live DVD.
Yeah.
Well out of print. Wasn't in print for very long. Got it for a good price a couple years ago. Definitely wouldn't want to go hunting for it again.
No.
Third to last is another CD DVD pack, but this time they're both live. I actually bought this one at the same time as Living Loud. And yeah, as usual, it's another one that, bit of a hassle to find now, so I grab it. It's the Sunflower Super Jam. It was a charity event, ensemble of all these famous musicians. You can probably make out just Brian May.
Brian May, yeah.
Yeah, there's an Alice Cooper there on the left as well. And people like Bruce Dickinson, Ian Pace, Billy John Roth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's they basically go through a whole set. You've got stuff like the Sales of Charon, Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll. That's Alfie Boe singing that one. Stuff. Bruce Dickinson singing Emerald is a really good one.
Nice.
He also covers Behind Blue Eyes. Yeah, he's also lead on Black Knight as well. And Brian May and Kerry Ellis for Since You've Been Gone. Alice Cooper. Oh yeah, speaking of Since You've Been Gone, that's Ian Pace actually playing on a Rainbow song for once.
All right, we got to hustle it. We got to hustle it. You're 1 and 2.
That's just fun. I'll save the explanations for this one because you're going to be doing it very shortly, I believe. My favorite thing that Blaze Bayley's ever released.
Yes, we'll talk about that soon.
Yes, we will. And lastly, this isn't my copy. My copy's in storage. I've just borrowed my dad's more weathered copy, which was the first one that entered the house, but
there it is.
Not. Hard to get a hold of these days. Plus, it's just, responsible for introducing me to Maiden. It deserves to come with me.
Yes. All right. Awesome list. Let's start the show officially. The last of the weeklies. Welcome to the LeBrain train, everyone.
To anywhere, and a glazed donut to go. All aboard!
Oh, I should probably add myself back in.
I've hijacked the LeBrain train.
This is ridiculous. Okay. That's the best we're going to get. How you doing, Harrison?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. So this all started earlier this week. It was Monday morning, and you asked me, what's the subject of this week's show? And at that point, I said to you, the finale.
Yes.
And that was the first time I verbalized what I was thinking in my head. And Chris Sarr keeps messaging me. I've been doing this for 18 months straight, and it's quite clear to me now that regardless of the situation that's ongoing, that most people are out and about on Friday nights again. And the whole thing was to give people something to do on Friday nights. And obviously, we're still getting bad news from all around the world. Yesterday, Paul Stanley announced that he just got COVID, although he's doing okay.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and the situation is not going away, but I feel like I've done what I initially set out to do 18 months ago, which is give people something to do on a Friday night. But I wasn't really happy about making this decision that I wanted to take a break and not do the show anymore, right? Every Friday. And, I've already got a September 24th interview with Stormforce booked. So it's not like we're not coming back ever, but I kind of felt like I'm done with this for now. And that means just let's do a finale. And, I was pretty serious about this. You sent me some amazing artwork that we're going to look at a little bit later. We're going to talk about John T. Snow a little bit later as well. But we were talking about what we're going to do for the finale, and we knew we were going to do lists. We knew we were going to do favorite episodes, stuff like that. We knew we were going to talk about some of the coolest stuff that's happened for a lot of Fridays. I think this is episode 81, so that's a lot of Fridays and a couple Saturdays.
Yeah, if I may just interject, I remember just quickly. I remember, pretty much every Friday after the show, because I'd be like, send you a message. Oh, that was a great show. One of the best. Every single Friday, just about.
Right.
That's how good it was.
It kept building and building and building. And, it takes a lot of time and energy, just coming up with new ideas and getting people involved. And, I know there are always some people that are willing to step in pretty much at any time. But, I also kind of rely on my buddies like the Meat Man and the Snowman and the Deke, Super Deeks and that kind of thing. And, I just kind of felt like I'm getting tired of this whole routine every single week. I need a break. And T-Bone started making some cool artwork. He made the Kiss artwork. And I started having a lot of second thoughts, like, what the hell am I going to do with myself on a Friday night now? If I don't have this show every single week, what am I going to do? But at the same time, I feel like I'm really tired. I want to take a break. Then T-Bone messages me out of the blue and he goes, my brother Dar, and we all know Dar is a big fan. My brother Dar says, why doesn't Mike just run a rerun of an old classic episode on a Friday night if he doesn't feel like going live? And like that, Eureka. I was like, holy crap, can I do this? So I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday night. I ran a test for 15 minutes. I ran the first 15 minutes of the very first T-Bone episode. And people were watching it. And they were commenting on it. And it looks like it's technically feasible. Now, granted, playing 15 minutes of a live stream is different from playing 3 hours of a live stream, but I don't see any reason why it can't happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, but even when I'm not going live, we're going to rerun classic episodes. And maybe you want to have some say in which episodes get repeated. There's so many good ones. And as Harrison and I discussed earlier, if you were looking for a specific episode, like, the one where Harrison and the guys were talking about Iron Maiden cover art, it's not necessarily easy to find a lot of episodes or look at a list of episodes and choose. So I thought, well, why don't we actually run reruns, broadcast them just like a live show, and then people can interact while they're watching them, and we can pick some of the best episodes. Seemed like a good idea. And that was Dar. Dar came up with that idea.
Reminds me of that Tom and Jerry episode where I think Tom ends up on a model train and he's just quickly laying down tracks as the train is going in front of it.
Yes.
That's what Dar's doing.
Yes. He's a genius. And nobody had come up with this idea. People, and it felt right. People might wonder, like, what's the difference? Like, why is that any different than what you're doing right now? But it's different to me. It's different to me. It means that I'm still keeping the show alive, but I don't have to necessarily be on camera doing anything. Literally, all I have to do is hit play and hit stop at the end of the show. I can also interact and post comments on the screen, but if I feel like watching a movie that night, I don't have to. And I can just let people discuss among themselves. So, yeah. Maybe it'll be next week. Who knows? We'll see how tonight goes, and if we have some ideas for a show next week. But definitely some reruns coming up in the near future before we come back with Storm Force on September the 24th. And I don't know, Harrison. What would you want to see rerun if I had to put you on the spot right now? Which episode would you want to see rerun? Not necessarily one from your list, but just like one that you think deserves a repeat that didn't get enough attention, perhaps.
I can tell you one that I don't think deserves a rerun.
Yeah, tell me that.
There's a moment in Iron Maiden deep cuts that I didn't realize it at the time, but look, when I watched back, I just went, oh no, I'm not particularly proud of that moment. So I prefer if nobody saw that ever again.
So Iron Maiden deep cuts, which was one of the earlier shows, I believe.
Yeah, that was a December one, December 2020.
Because we have the list here. Yeah. So that's the plan. I'm not necessarily going to be going live every Friday, but there will be a show. You'll be able to watch a classic episode that you might have missed, needs to be seen twice, interview shows that fucking deserve more attention. And like I said, this was all Dar Ericsson's idea. And as you guys know, the other day I posted some lyrics. I posted Ode to Dar, and that I wrote that after doing my little 15-minute test stream. I'm like, I'm going to write a little Ode to Dar, and I posted it as my post the next day with a little to be continued, as in we're going to explain Ode to Dar. But what I did not expect is for T-Bone to have, when I woke up the following morning, the morning after I wrote Ode to Dar, he had sent me a complete song, Ode to Dar. Not only a song, but then a few hours later, a video. And over the course of this week, he has sent me 2 remixes of Ode to Dar, a song that people have not even heard yet. I already have 3 mixes of Ode to Dar. So we're hearing tonight the debut of mix 3 of Ode to Dar. And this is technically a co-write between me and T-Bone. This is our first collaboration on a song. And so I am very proud to present to you. I think it's a future hit. It's definitely going to get replayed. I would like to present to you T-Bone Erickson with Ode to Dar.
Was a man, a heavy beer drinking man. His name was Dar Erickson. He rode the train, the mighty LeBrain train, down the rails until dawn. Dar loved that train, he needed that train. He could not bear to see it gone. So Dar used his brain to save the LeBrain train, and now we all owe him one.
Thank you, T-Bone. As Rob says, T-Bone is the man. Yeah. And it's true. It is 100% true. Like, until Dar came up with that idea of us doing reruns, I really did not know what to do other than just kill the show for the sake of having a break. And then pop back every once in a while to do things like the Storm Force. But like I just felt dead. Like, it felt like I had done it. What else is there to do? There's no point in keeping on going. But then as things evolved and as Dar came up with this idea and T-Bone turned it into a song, all of a sudden so many ideas started popping. Just for tonight's show, we have so many like videos, and we have a cameo coming up, and lists galore. So much to do tonight. Like, it's amazing how it turned from I got no ideas to I got a book full of ideas. Yeah. So we are waiting on one person, but maybe while we wait for that one person, maybe we should talk about your visual contribution to the evening.
I just had a thought about, all those extra mixers of HBD Triple M and Ode to Dar. Well, the best thing about those is that each one can be a bonus track on a different format of T-Bone's album. So you have to buy every one to get all the mixes.
That's brilliant. Oh, the Meat Man is here. Shall we put him on then?
Yes,
Meet the Hoople.
The visual bit might take a bit of time, depending on how in depth we go. So.
Right. Maybe he'll stick around for it, because I do want to know.
I think when we show him, he's going to leave.
Well, we'll see.
Knowing his comments about, baby
about
Yoda.
Toys.
Yeah.
Because he loves toys. It's his favorite thing in the world. And since Meat Man is here, this is a
Galvatron. Good... I know how much you love Rodimus. I'll get my Galvatron.
Go get your Galvatron while we bring on the Meat Man. And I crack open my alcoholic beverage for this evening. Hello, Meat Man.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I sure can. You sound good.
That's good. Hi, Harrison. How's it going?
Oh, good. Thanks. How about you?
Not bad. I liked seeing your the list you just gave there. I actually watched the Save and Fire one yesterday, all 13 hours of it, and and it was good. I enjoyed it. And it's weird. I didn't put it on my list because I somehow forgot about it, but I guess maybe I was realizing that it wasn't done yet, so that's why I did. Yeah, so that was cool, and yeah, I liked that. That show was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Did you see like Snowy's vault?
Well, yes, I did, and I was just going to mention how like just automatically I would think that LeBrain would go. He'd be the man, and he had some good stuff. But holy cow, Snow was just one after the other and after the other, and it's holy cow, man! That's quite the collection.
Yeah,
pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
So you wanted to talk to us about you're going to do a list of your favorite shows that we've done, and you also want to talk about Sausage Fest.
Yeah. Just wanted to right off the bat. Yeah. This is the shirt that everyone got, and
right. We'll do a close up here.
I believe there's one for you as well, LeBrain. Tom has them, so
nice.
That is
so the fingers. The fingers are sausages, if you can't tell.
And 20 years of paying your rock and roll taxes, kind of thing. Yeah. So that's what that was.
Nice.
Sausage Fest was good. It was, one of the surprising things was the amount of people that showed up that hadn't been there for a few years or just we weren't necessarily expecting.
Who did I miss?
Scotty was there. Cam was there.
I haven't seen them in ages.
Alex was there. Ernie Morwood, who had been forever since it. So there's a bunch, and I said it many times to other people. One of the reason why this was happening. And Mike Mitchell from.
Yeah, I saw him in the photos. That was a full Max the Axe reunion there.
Yes, and there's the one picture in there. That's a great picture.
The four guys.
Yeah. And, the reason why this happened, I think, because no one could do anything for a year and a half. The COVID situation, if anything, is well, what I can actually do something in a field. You're not necessarily in a room. They could just appeal to a lot of people.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of the safest things you could be doing.
Yeah. True. And I'll just quickly go through. First of all, me and Tom went on the Thursday night for the first time ever for me. I actually went for 3 nights, and it was really cool because there weren't many people there, and it was a nice little cool Friday night with Ryan, Chuck, Michael Morwood, Frank, and Frank's son was there only on the Friday night.
Nice.
And Dan, of course, and there might be a couple of those that I'm not remembering right now, but that was good. It was very, very good. It was super hot on Friday, and the revitalization of the river was one of the most necessary things I've ever. I've never spent more time in the river than that. So that was cool. Saturday, it ended up pouring for about 2 hours, pretty good, 2 or 3 hours, and we recovered. It was funny because we used that time to have a deep fried food party because Dan, again for the second year now, brings a deep fryer in a field, which we don't need, and it even says that in the intro, the one line of somewhere off of Abbey Road, like, we don't need a deep fryer. Well, it's so true. We don't need it.
No, but if you're going to be deep frying, man, it better be outdoors.
It was a way so cool to pass the rain time because it was just, ribs. Gonna try that. It was amazing. Reese's peanut butter cups. Gonna try that. That's amazing. And it just over and over, and it never ended. So it was a neat little deep fried food party was the name of it, which sounds like something that should be on a Captain Beefheart album or something.
Maybe it'll be a new T-Bone song.
Maybe, yeah. And then, first of all, and I saw Sar mention it because I think it's been talked about. Yes, I did burn my Leafs jersey in the fire on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I did this for a reason because they never win and they're completely hopeless, and it's time for something to be different.
Burning that jersey is not going to do any difference at all.
Hey, it can't hurt. You gotta,
it can't
try
hurt.
Something.
It can't hurt.
You gotta try something. Now, I gotta tell this story, but I'll let you start it. But LeBrain, he does of the 100 songs, he does about 8-9 songs where he introduces them.
Yeah, this year I think it was 8.
And one of them was Rush, What You're Doing.
Number 25.
And it was funny because holy cow, he faked out. Well, I'll let you explain it.
Okay, so like I was for most of the countdown, I was throwing in like little bits of alternate takes for different songs. Like for Black Sabbath, Under the Sun, I put in like a bit of the rehearsal. I think I did The Wizard, bit of the rehearsal. For Led Zeppelin, Trampled Underfoot, I did an alternate, like an early rough mix, just as a little bit in the intro, because I'm LeBrain, and that's my collection should be shared in that way, right?
Gotta put those tracks to good use.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing this for What You're Doing by Rush, and I'm like, I don't think I have like an alternate version here that I can use, but I'm going to search in my folder. So What You're Doing and Skid Row. So I'm like, I'm going to do a fake out. So I said, okay, so this is LeBrain. I'm not going to do a lot of chit chat here. This is one of the best of the early Rush songs featuring John Rutsey on drums. This is What You're Doing. I'm out. And then it goes into the screechy Skid Row type guitars. And instead of Geddy Lee, it's Sebastian Bach. Well, I see you standing there with your finger in the air. And I thought, well, this is going to piss some people off maybe, but I did, I think, like 25 seconds, the first 25 seconds of Skid Row's What You're Doing, and then I stop it and I said, oh, sorry, I did the wrong track, here's Rush. And then Meat takes over.
What happened was amazing because holy cow, okay, it doesn't sound necessarily that different. It sounds more polished and glossy and whatever, a little heavier.
Very metally though. The guitars with the harmonics.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. There's LeBrain. He's trying to fake everybody out, and one of the guys. Well, Tom Morwood is to me, Tom and Bucky that do it. And Tom Morwood, his brother Ernie, who hadn't been there in a while, he showed up with his two sons, who I believe are 8 and 10. And basically, the song starts, and before the singing, his 8-year-old looks and goes, "This doesn't sound like Rush." And I'm like, "Oh my, that is so perfect." Like, I just found it like, obviously, these kids are being taught well because he just knew right away. So that was a really fun
That's
thing.
awesome.
Now, did you happen to load up that fireworks video?
No,
curious.
no, there's too much music in it.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were to do it without music or whatever.
I could, but it sounded like you're saying "Jesus" was one of the funniest things of the video.
Well, let's just say that Michael Morwood, he was setting up fireworks a fair distance away. Like, it was a fair distance away, and right in the middle of it, all of a sudden, one of the fireworks shot towards the crowd. And it's funny. It was right behind the area that LeBrain usually sits at Oktoberfest. Like, and it turned out to be right where the 8 and 10-year-olds. It went about 5 feet over their head. So that could have been a lot more of a disaster.
So I have a question about that, because as soon as I saw the fireworks, I thought, well, what about Zach? Because Zach is terrified of fireworks.
Oh no, he didn't like that. No, trust me.
Did not give him a warning at least that it was happening?
No, the warning was that it was happening because they were pretty substantial fireworks.
Oh, for fuck's sake! So it's exactly a repeat of the 1 year where we shot off the fireworks, and you can actually see the moment in the video. You can see him get the fuck out of his chair and just run. You can actually see it in the video.
Yeah, so it was interesting. And I'll just lastly, I'll comment on the list, and I'm not going to read it the list or anything like that. But I'm going to try to point it towards Harrison, just because, because Harrison's here, and why not? Now I can't talk on the phone right now. Okay, let me just see interesting stuff here. Well, number 100 was "Great Gig in the Sky," which I believe is on Pulse as well. And I mean, it wouldn't be the real version and the real singer, but anyway, that's a good example. Something called "Love Is All" by Roger Glover, which is something from the Butterfly Ball. Is that what it's called?
Did I vote for that?
I don't remember. It was number 91, so that was cool.
I gave that to Tom on a mixtape 20 years ago.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I think it was Bucky that pushed it, but anyway,
that's a great tune.
Just thinking that there's some priests there with "Screaming for Vengeance." Some Van Halen for good old T-Bone with "Take Your Whiskey Home." Let me see what else is here that out of interest. There was a Maiden one that I found interesting. Where is it again? I want to get the name right to make sure I don't screw this up, but I can't find it. It was a Diano song called "Another Life."
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Tom played the Bruce Dickinson live version. Would you guys know what that's from?
Yeah,
I mean, Feast Over Hannes.
Yeah,
the one that you just showed earlier tonight.
Yeah, and I liked it. I remember scoffing when we did it, like, "Oh, you're gonna put the Dickinson on? Come on!" I play the Diano, but it actually was pretty good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Let me see here. We had some Voivod in there. Power Slave, Iron Maiden, just, Rat Bat Blue, Deep Purple, some good stuff in there. I will just for the hell of it, I'll go through the top 10. Top 10. Number 10, "Thank You for Being Myself Again," Sly and the Family Stone. Number 9, "Stick It Out" by Rush. Number 8, "Hell" by James Brown. Number 7, "Presto Changeo" by Five Alarm Funk. Now number 6. This has happened several times. You're there. The sound is a surround sound thing. It's a good sound. It's loud songs a lot. And this particular band has blown my mind every time they've been on the list, and they didn't disappoint. A Living Thing by ELO was number 6. And I've had moments with Telephone Line. I've had moments with Mr. Blue Sky. And again, another moment. It's like an electric, like orchestra love fest whenever they come on. Like, people love it. Like, it's just so good. At number 5 was Helter Skelter by the Beatles. Number 4 was Rock and Roll by Motorhead. Number 3 was Carouselambra by Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was Ape is High by a band called Mandrill, which is really cool, funky thing. And number 1, the band that I believe has the most underrated back catalog in the history of music, which is Thin Lizzy, and Sha-La-La, number 1.
Yeah, that was an impressive number 1.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, the whole list thing was, it was wonderful.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Yeah. So that's what that is. Now, I just wanted to give my list and let you guys go on with the show.
Okay, make sure you watch us talk about that Lego sculpture that he made.
Yes, okay. I'll do the list, and then you can do the Lego sculpture thing, and then I'll scram. But okay. Well, I'm gonna get the list here. Okay, I'll start with the interviews.
Okay.
Which I found tough, but I'm not going to elaborate too much. Number 11 would be the second interview with Brent Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that one. Number 10 would be the Polychuck interview, which I found very interesting. Number 9 would be Stefan, which I really enjoyed that. Number 8, Sean Kelly. I mean, it's hard not to like Sean Kelly.
Yeah.
He's obviously quite talented and just a lot of fun to listen to talk. Number 6 was number 7, was Paul Lane. Mm-hmm. Paul Lane, which was surprisingly, I wasn't really expecting to be as entertained by that as I was. Number 6, the Frank Lafredo interview was awesome. It was just, it was like a history lesson. And, it was just good. Number 5, the Marco the Contrarian, which I really, really liked. And it would be higher, but it's just got a lot of competition.
I would like to get Marco back another time. Yeah.
I love that a lot. I really want to get Marco and Harrison together. I mean, that's something we thought about.
What you wish for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But hey, I think it'll be lovely. I'm at number 4, and again, tough competition. But my number 4 is a Jacob Moon one. I mean, for personal reasons, it was just so much fun, and it was real, and I just loved it. And including Trevor Howard in there was amazing.
It wasn't a typical interview. That's why I titled it "This Is Your Life, Jacob Moon," because it wasn't a typical interview.
No, it certainly wasn't. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Hey, Lana.
Number 3. Hi, Lana. Number 3 was the Martin Popoff interview that we did with the first one. Awesome. Just and a dream come true, because literally, I mean, before the LeBrain strain started, I had already started connecting with watching people talk about rock and roll, and one of them was Popoff, and the idea that we were doing it was a dream come true. So it was awesome. Number 2 were both Mike Fraser interviews. They were amazing. Just fun. He seems like a guy I'd love to have a beer with. Just great guy. And number 1 had to be Andy Kern. And who knows if Andy Kern and Mike Fraser didn't have their little meeting in the middle, Fraser might have been number 1. But that was magic. You can't make up that kind of shit. It just happens.
That was magic.
I believe it's the best thing that'll ever happen on the show, because it's got everything wrapped in it. It's not just the music thing; it's the friendship thing. It's the joking around thing, and you can't make that up. That's right. So that was natural. Easily my number 1. It's pretty much 1 and 2 is Kern Fraser. I mean, because they're both like that. They're both just seem like great guys. So there's that. And for the list shows, let's see what we got here. Okay. I'll start at number 11 at the One Hit Wonders.
That With Maxi.
Even though Max thinks that Toto's a one-hit wonder, it was fun topic. Number 10. I chose Riffs of the 80s with Mike Slane. I really enjoyed that one better than the 70s. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but I really enjoyed it. It was great. So there you go. Number 9. The very first LeBrain, the very first Natural Tough No,
which was Rush.
Sentimental reasons. One, Rush, the only Rush list there's ever been, and two, I mean, it was just you and me, and we were just trying something out. And
we're going to talk about that episode.
We definitely are.
Yeah. You know, because it's kind of barbaric in comparison to what's happened after it, but hey, it is the first, you know.
You got through 3 lists in like 30 minutes. That was like, I think that's a record for the show.
That's a good point. Maybe we should have taken.
It was just me reading them. Half the time it was just me reading them. Okay, and Scott Carson even participated in the second one, the Kiss one.
Oh yeah. Okay, where were we? That was number 9. Number 8. Yes. Funny that you said number 8, Maiden deep cuts. Which I really liked it. It was interesting for me. I think that was right after I had some medical issues. So I remember that it was kind of like it was a neat thing to just jump right in and I liked the topic and everything. So
I remember distinctly telling Harrison, I don't think Meat's ever going to be able to do another episode again, because at that time, that was a legitimate. We didn't know, and I thought the same thing about Harrison at one point too. So I'm glad that you're both here tonight. You're both miracles of science.
Well, it's funny. It was less than 2 days after I was released from the hospital that I was on.
Yeah, and I was like, that's around when we started building in breaks, which is a great idea. Helps us go all night.
Yes,
that's what she said.
And it helps with the smoking that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Let me tell you, toilet break definitely comes in handy.
That too. Or you just wear a pair of Depends, and just keep going for 7 hours.
Anyway, keep going.
Okay, where are we? 7, 8? Sorry. Number 7 was the one about concerts. I love talking about that stuff, and that was really great. Number 6 was the top animated one, which I wasn't even on. I wasn't on. I did have my list there.
Yeah.
And I liked that I was kind of involved in the show, but not really. It's not the Meat Show, Zinger. It just seems like that. Trust me, I'm going to shut up soon. The top animated I really, really liked. I loved that, that me and Kevin and Lana all had up as number 1, and LeBrain refuses to watch it. It just blows my mind. One of these days we're going to have to time to a big thing of balloons and make him watch it.
No, he's got time now because he's rerunning shows. Yes. He can watch a movie.
This is true.
That is true.
Okay, number 5, debut albums, which I really like that, and I liked it too because an old friend of mine, Scott Hunter, and his girl, Meredith Tanner, watched that as well, and I just loved the whole show. Number 4, the Done with Mirrors.
Yeah.
One with T-Bone and Deke and Kevin. Really loved it. I love the way you get to know an album and then you get the chance to discuss it. It was a neat way. Number 3 is the 5150 one.
It was another good one.
Loved it. So much fun. And I really like Deke different, T-Bone different. They're all different in the way what they find important and what they bring up. It's just really, 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 really cool. Number 2, more Deke, with you, me, and Martin Popoff, the King's X show. Loved the King's X show. That was like the big dream come true, because the first one was, was interview, but the second one was like what they do on Sea of Tranquility, and I just loved every second of it. And my number 1 had to be the Spielberg.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
So good.
everything about it. Being made sweet love to by the voice of Eric Woods. Just everything about it. I love the whole topic of it, and it was really, really interesting. And there are my lists.
That's fantastic, Meat.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to hang around? I can really quickly read Rob and Snowy's lists.
Well, I'm thinking let Harrison do his thing.
Okay.
I'm going to get off, and I'll let
You
you
can
guys
stay as long
continue
as
the
you
show.
want to.
Yeah.
It's not the meat show, as Zinger was trying to put it. But no. What?
You were a part of the history. You know, you were one of the 4 horsemen of the LeBrain train.
Oh, don't say the 4 horsemen.
Well, I did find it
4
funny.
train conductors of the LeBrain
The
train.
4 train conductors.
I did find it funny, the Kiss photo, because it brought lots of weird thoughts in there. Because the first thing I'm thinking was, Kiss said it was farewell time in '96, I believe, and then I saw them 32 years 32 years later,
whatever,
or whatever it was. 28. Whatever. I'm not doing that.
A decade later, let's say.
Oh, way more than that. So then, while I was there at the Kiss concert, I remember specifically sitting there in the ACC, and they have things going up, shows coming up, and one of them was the ELO was coming up, and I go, wow, that's cool. The next one was the Who does Quadrophenia. I'm like, I remember very well watching the live thing in 1984 when it was the last ever Who show.
Right.
And now in 2019, they're doing more shows.
And look at my screen name tonight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah. That's
Who was in the band at that stage?
No More Tours tour?
No, the Quadrophenia one that Mate mentioned.
Oh, it was, well, I know it was Townsend and Daltrey.
Yeah. And their side
Simon Phillips, maybe on drums. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the rest.
Sorry, I hit my thumb went premature there.
So, yeah, I let me know about this thing before I take off, because I was curious.
Let's see if I can get a better. I don't know why it doesn't want to make a nice image.
I think what you're going to have to do is put that on full screen, because you need that as big as possible.
I'm trying. Hang on a second.
It did cut slightly the sides and top, but nothing important is missing.
Okay, hang on a second. We're going to try again. Just give me a moment, if you don't mind.
Did you have to reduce the size in order for StreamYard to accept it?
Yeah, and Harrison, it's funny too. I was telling Mike that Max gave me 2 CDs of the new Max the Axe CD, and I gave one to Michael Morwood, and the other one, no idea where it is.
You know what? Just give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try downloading a new version of that picture, because on my computer I only have like a really small one. Maybe Harrison, if you can, I don't know if you can, but can you just really quickly message me a new one on Facebook? Just so I don't have to look for it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if.
Sorry, folks. This is live.
Oops,
This is what happens when we go live.
Yes, it is.
Meat has to entertain you now.
So yeah, I totally thought of you, Harrison, when I Live in Things started. I'm like, man, he'd love this. It's so loud and it sounds so great in that setting. It's just odd, and the fire is and it's dark. It's a perfect way to listen to ELO, like to have a little bit of visual stimulation, but every audio possibility is perfect. And that sounds like ELO to me.
I'm sorry this is taking so long. I'm trying to find a larger picture, a larger version of the picture, I should say, so I can at least make it as nice as possible. Come on.
It's loading. Yeah, on Facebook. It should be through soon.
Chris Thus's favorite moments are the fuck ups. No.
Speaking
ODP,
of that, ODP.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you a story that has not been. I think LeBrain knows this, but I don't think the rest of the people know this. I can't remember what this has been said, but yeah, the ODP. Okay. I was never annoyed by it. I always thought it was funny, always. And then, Sarah always wants to see it, and everyone wants to see it. And that's fine. That's cool. Now, at one point, myself and T-Bone spoke and a few times, And the plan was that I was going to get all his tracks and write lyrics for my own song called Open Door Shit. And it was going to happen, and it would have happened. I even had all the lyrics, which I don't even have anymore because I'm now on a different computer because the other computer that had those lyrics crashed and there is no lyrics. Now I could redo them, but it probably won't be. I think the time has passed, but it would have been fun. It would have been fun to do.
Okay, I think we're ready. This is as good as I can get it. How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
It's as good as I can get it. We'll get Chris's comment out of the
That's
way so we can see. Okay, so this is us.
Good.
This is us.
This is
Really?
just a bit of fun I did to sort of commemorate the LeBrain train. It's sure it's not at the same caliber as what T-Bone does, but
Oh no,
something.
man! Don't underestimate yourself. This is pretty amazing.
I'm trying to find like the ugliest guy and see where I am.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the parts to render you in the right amount of accuracy, so you are represented by a different thing.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so why don't we first talk about the band at the top?
Yeah, the stage is the less interesting bits. I think. We'll start
So I
with
see
that.
Stonehenge, and I see Iron Maiden, sort of like Egypt-y stuff, and I see what looks to be Eddie.
Yeah,
And if I had to guess your band members here,
Halford.
and I know some of them are right, and I still know some of them are wrong.
It's Halford.
But from left to right, I would go Adrian Smith, Rob Halford, Chris Slade, Bruce Dickinson, Dave Mustaine.
Okay, so 4 out of 5, and I don't blame you for getting the number 5 wrong because it's not the best rendition. But okay, so just starting from the very back, you can see you've got the Canadian flag and the LB there. I was always going to have. Sorry if you don't mind me going a bit in depth about my design process. I was always going to have the LB in the back there, but the idea to make the back of the stage a Canadian flag sort of
Yeah, you're right. I see that.
representation came from the fact that I ran out of black bricks, so I needed something else to make up the stage. And I'm like, oh, of course, I'll make it interesting, the Canadian flag. And yeah, you've got the Power Slave inspired background. You've got Stonehenge.
I
that's
love
true for Eddie.
on the left hand side. I love like the platform.
Yeah.
And I guess that's Eddie on top because that platform, it reminds me of when I first saw Maiden in '84 when I was like 15 on the Power Slave tour. That's what it looks and reminds me of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Trooper Eddie. Usually it's Bruce up there waving the flag, but I had a Trooper Eddie, so I put him up there. That is, yes, very much Adrian Smith there, Mike, a latter-day Adrian Smith. When I saw that head when I first saw it, I was like, that's an Adrian Smith expression right there.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, he always has he's like his shoulders like come up as he's doing his solo too as well. He's got his own idiosyncrasy.
And also he plays a guitar that looks very much like that.
Yeah, that was based on I think his Power Slave era guitar. It was a red one like that. I do love his Book of Souls Stratocaster, which is black and green. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, so Rob Halford is obvious.
Yeah. Based on the Unleashed in the East, because I didn't have a skin color head with dark sunglasses. I sort of peeked the cap down.
I see that, which is very accurate.
Yeah. I should have hid the extension cord. I should have hid it behind his legs more because you can see the end of the microphone cord there.
I think that actually helps because if you don't have the extension cord, it doesn't necessarily look like a microphone.
Yeah, no, I like what you
I should
did
have
there.
hid the end behind his legs.
Oh, it's barely visible, man. I only noticed it now when you pointed it out.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason why the other singer has a proper microphone and Halford has a built microphone is because I needed to put the cord on the end.
Gotcha.
On the drums, Chris Slade. I needed a drummer that was instantly recognizable by their face, and Chris Slade's grinning face, and his bald head is pretty iconic. I'm really happy because these the 3 cymbal bits, they're actually like chromed gold, which you can't really get anymore. It comes from this like more than a decade old like space set now that I got like many, many years ago. But I'm glad I did because the chromed look for them is so much better than bland.
I just figured out who the guy on the left is. It's not Dave Mustaine. I figured it out, but go ahead.
Right.
I just figured it out now, but go ahead. Keep going.
Well, I'll just say that is, yes, Bruce Dickinson. It's pretty bland because it's based on his Book of Souls tour appearance, but it was the Bruce Dickinson that I could replicate accurately. So it's the one I did. He's doing his famous hunched over the microphone stand scream there.
Harrison,
can I tell you who the last guy is?
I have a guess on who the last guy is on that line.
I just realized it now when
I gotta guess Michael Schenker.
No.
LeBrain?
That, I swear to God, because of the shirt, that is Nigel Tufnell.
Bingo!
Wow.
Yeah, that's Nigel Tufnell there going to adjust his amplifier speaker.
And he's wearing the skeleton shirt from the end credit scene of the movie, man.
Yeah.
I can see my inside a t-shirt. Yeah. That's funny.
Okay, so Harrison, Lana was asking earlier who is the guy with the red guitar and the bottom left. So we may as well start talking about who we are, because this is us, basically.
Well, I just want
John Stamos.
Funny story about the shirt for Nigel Tufnell. Of course, I had to include Nigel Tufnell there, but so I looked up Google image of Nigel Tufnell, and I got the one which had the black top with the green
skeleton.
But I only had a green top with black skeleton bits. So I'm just like, it'll have to do. But then again, it is
close enough, man. I figured it out.
Yeah, it is pretty Spinal Tap to say I want a black top with green bits and to get a green top with black bits. So it ended up being on brand in that regard. But yes, now the bottom row, that's basically based on LeBrain train guests. There's exactly 11 across. So
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
I think I see Harrison.
I see Harrison. Should I give you my guesses before you tell us?
Yeah, I'd rather, but just quickly, I'm going to say sorry for making a couple people look older than they actually are. And when I went back to look for, because I wanted to give everyone like a sort of unique outfit based on what they wore or what they were known for wearing. The problem was when I went back, everybody bloody wears black.
Yeah, that's true.
So I had to take a bit of creative license. But anyway, okay, so left to right, I guess, just who are you guessing? Okay,
so I won't say the red guitar guy because I didn't guess that. You told me.
Oh, I did tell you.
I won't. I don't know who the gentleman next is. The guy with the red hat and the chicken bone must be my buddy, the Meat Man.
Well, next the chicken bone is separate from the man. That's just lying there.
Okay, well, that is my guess, though. That's the Meat Man. It looks like the Meat Man. And then I'm guessing Aaron with the record. We're guessing Deke holding his balls of steel.
Yeah, there you go.
And then myself with no fucking pants. We have no idea who the Luke Skywalker looking guy is, but I'm guessing by the hair it could be Paul Lane. Mm-hmm. The next gentleman with the long hair is definitely you.
And then Rob Daniels.
Rob Daniels with Gimli Cat.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
Kevin Simister with the black cap, and John T. Snow, a.k.a. Richard Dreyfuss, a.k.a. Mr. Holland's Opus.
Pretty damn good.
That's my guesses.
So I will go left for right. Yep. T-Bone is the very left one.
With a mic stand, and what has he also got there?
That's supposed to be the circular pop guard in front of the microphone. I didn't get it perfectly
Brilliant.
Right, but
Brilliant.
Represents it, yeah. Then the next guy is Jon Snow. Who's looking a little older, but sorry about that. Yeah, that's Jon Snow there. That little drumstick is unfortunately all the representation Meat gets. But it's on brand.
Okay. So that is meat. It's not. It doesn't go with meat. It is meat.
Yeah. Also, sorry. I must point out to anyone who didn't make it into here. My apologies. I wasn't playing favorites, but I had space constraints, and I didn't have the parts to accurately render everyone. So that's why Meat has to be a drumstick. Okay. Next up is actually Jeff Stevens.
Oh, with the red cap. Okay.
Yeah, because he wears caps a lot.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have any graph piece that would make it any more obvious. And the next one
is Aaron. Is he wearing a straitjacket?
No, it's just a shirt. It's just a white shirt.
Or it's like a Seinfeld puffy shirt.
Oh yeah.
He's just I just need to give him a shirt. He usually wears band shirts, but I don't have any. That's him with his show and tell. But another piece that I don't have. It's a rectangular tile, and it's got at the top of it has shark. And it's basically a parody of the Jaws poster. And if I had that, I would have put it up behind Jon Snow to make it a bit more obvious. But I don't have
cool. Damn, that would have been cool. Maybe, you know what? We can make down the road a modified version. But we'll keep going. Keep going. So next to Aaron.
Yeah. I should have known Kevin would get the balls of steel clue. Yep, that's Deke. Sorry, Deke, making you look a little older than you are. But, yeah. The balls of steel there are modeled based on the AC/DC Family Jewels DVD cover. So,
that makes sense.
Kevin being an AC/DC fan, it makes sense that he would have got the balls of steel.
Yep.
Yep, that's very much you making a statement on pants.
And with this.
Kylo Ren lightsaber. That was actually a late addition, the lightsaber. I forgot about it. I just like glanced across and I saw my Kylo Ren, and I'm like, that's right, LeBrain has a Kylo Ren lightsaber. Let's put that there.
That's
and
cool.
One of my favorite callbacks in this whole thing is that the head I used for LeBrain is the head that originally is used for old Luke Skywalker, which goes way back to a Sunday chuckle of yours of
when I was
what it was called.
Somebody thought that I looked like Mark Hamill.
So yeah, it's just funny that and yes, I had to include this next person. It is indeed Paul Lane.
Nice.
I had to,
nice.
Yeah, and I'm so glad I had the right hair for it.
Yeah, that's what gave it away.
Yeah,
so perfect. And this next guy looks exactly like you.
Yeah, that's me with my my trademark blue jacket, blue shorts combo, of which I'm only wearing the shorts today.
That's cool.
Yeah. Next up, yes, is Rob with Gimli. Yeah, the hair. It's not the most accurate hair because I was so preoccupied with whether I could do like a hair headphone combo that I wasn't thinking about whether I should. Because when I looked back after I took this picture, I was like, wait a minute, Rob doesn't really wear headphones. But
right.
Yeah, it was too late at that point. So sorry, Rob.
He does it. He does at work when he's at the radio station, so it's actually accurate.
Okay, so yeah, in that
kind of
regard,
has. He kind of has like a bit of a look of like an English professor or something.
But he also looks like vintage Rob when he's got the longer hair going too.
Yeah, I based his body on that sort of like sweater, his Visions and Sounds sweater that he wears.
Yeah.
And the next two, it's because you already know one is Jon Snow. This isn't Jon Snow, and I'll tell you it's not Kevin either. So I'll give you another chance to guess this.
Where? The second one?
The last two guys. It's not Kevin and Snow.
Really?
So who wore a hat that isn't Kevin or Snow?
Okay.
So we already had Aaron.
Of the last two, are they friends or people being interviewed?
Both.
I got it.
They
It's
go
Andy
together.
Curran.
Yeah.
It's Andy
Yeah.
Curran and Mike Fraser.
There you
Andy
go.
Curran and Mike Fraser.
To commemorate that moment.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's Andy
So,
Curran
yeah,
and Mike Fraser.
Yeah.
That's very Fraser, the last one to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn.
I wanted to have them all like smiling and like, yeah, hey, how's it going like with them? But unfortunately, you don't get many smiling faces because you're a lot of, it's like Marvel and Star Wars. So it's all stern faces. So they look a little sterner than they should. But that is indeed Mike Fraser and Andy Curran. there
Okay,
on that
so
side.
first of all, big
Awesome.
round of applause to you
Very cool.
for coming up with this and for putting all this time and presumably money into it.
Oh, I had all of this stuff before. So
Well, dude, I mean, I'm so flattered.
finding-
Like here's a guy on the other side of the world, and he made a Lego of me, my friends, and people we've had on this crazy adventure with us. Like,
I gotta ask you
how
this.
flattered can you be?
I have to ask you this because I don't remember you saying this about it, and I'm just guessing. The Nigel Tufnell, is that Stonehenge behind him?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's brilliant.
It's a
just
properly
brilliant.
sized Stonehenge, because if I made Stonehenge too small, it would be like, what's that? You'd be squinting. If I made it too big, it would just be two pillars and you wouldn't know it was Stonehenge. So I had to do
Yeah, so that's as if they got the Stonehenge monument actually right.
Right.
Except they got his clothes wrong.
I like they probably did on the Born Again tour.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, Harrison, like this is one of the most incredible things anybody's ever done. I'm wondering when you started this.
It was not that long ago, actually. It was this month, only like a couple weeks ago. I just saw like a couple of the heads I had on characters, and I was just like, hey, that would be a good head for, if I was ever going to make a Jon Snow or a LeBrain. And then it's just like, eureka moment. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Like, how far can I take this idea of making my friends in Lego and, like the stage to go with it and, fill it with callbacks. And I finished it over a weekend. And then I was just like, I finished the main build. I added the Photoshop border a bit later, but I was just like agonizing over the fact that I'd have to wait so long till Oktoberfest to show this off.
Right.
And I was, considering just sending it to you ahead of time and just saying, hey, look at this cool thing I made, maybe you could use it in the finale. But then you went and said, finale this week. And I'm like, okay, don't have to wait as long.
Something like this makes me realize it means something to somebody, and it's so flattering. Like,
well, this leads into what I'm going to say before I go, because I have something to say.
Okay.
It's editorial time.
Oh, shit. Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we'll do this. And, okay.
Okay.
Show's on you.
Oh, well, I need to be... I don't want to be...
This editorial... You asked for editorial time?
Editorial time.
This is the price you pay. The price you pay for editorializing.
I'm going to say this. Hey, you know what? I understand that you wanted to, this started because of COVID. It's the only reason why it really started. Well, COVID became a secondary thing as to why you were doing this, I think, very early on. So the way I'm looking at it is this. You could say it's the last one. It's not the last one. And I really like the idea that Dar had about the repeats because it allows you to not burn out. But I will say this, and this is the editorial part. You can't make a decision on whether you want to do this or not based on quote-unquote ratings or views, because that's not why you do it. If me, you, and Harrison did a list of our favorite candy bars and we enjoyed it, who cares if someone's watching? If there's 8 people watching, that's fine. If there's 0 people watching, you're still having fun with the interaction of your friends. So it's not about that. It should not be about how many views is it, how many people are watching. Yeah, it's nice to have people commenting and everything. Yeah, but it's just spice. The real flavor is us having fun doing it together. Editorial over. We will see each other again. There you go. Take me off the screen like that. So that's my words. I don't care about the views. You shouldn't care about the views. Yeah, they're going to be lower because people are doing things, but it doesn't mean that it's not amazing. I mean, my favorite list show was just 3 weeks ago with Spielberg. So that's the way I see it.
To me, the greatest thing the LeBrain
Mike, you're muted.
To me, the greatest thing that the LeBrain train did was just give us a way to connect with each other, in real time like never before, and just hang out for a couple hours. Yeah. People from all across the globe. Yeah.
Give me a second here. It's just getting dark, and I need to turn on this light.
Yeah.
1 second.
I'd actually get to hear people's voices. They wouldn't just be like text on a screen. And
people have become friends through this. We've all become friends through this, and it's been about like all of us nerds being able to nerd out. That's how much we love music. That's how much we love movies. And if we did a candy bar one, that's how much we love candy bars or whatever. And it would all be
sorry
fun.
about that, guys.
It's all good.
The brain did bring up one good counterpoint for the rating thing, in that he did mention that good ratings gets better interviews and gets you more likely to get interviews.
That's true, but think of the interviews he got without any ratings. No, it was not really that many views. He ended up with Curran and all these people. Like, how did he do this? And now Deke has a lot to do with it because he's flashing his balls of steel.
Yeah. Deke is another one of the 4 conductors of the LeBrain train.
Well, yeah, he would have to be. I mean,
it's Deke, T-Bone, Dar, and yourself.
I would never have met Martin Popoff twice and without Deke. I mean, it was an amazing time. I loved it. I mean, of course, I appreciate that. So, and like we were saying, Mike, when you were gone, people have all become friends through this.
Yeah, it's true.
So
look at Dar, look at T-Bone. I didn't really know those guys before.
Mm-hmm. And just through all this, the only person who heard the intro for a couple months was T-Bone, who has never been to Sausage Fest and all this stuff. So I mean, it became important to me to get his opinion, and I've never even met him.
We forgot something, man. We had a video we were going to play. So we're going to, the video, there's only one that we can play from Sausage Fest.
Oh, what was it? What are you talking about?
You'll get to see now.
Why don't we just run it?
Oh, that one, yeah. That's
funny. I didn't attend Sausage Fest this year. I wasn't feeling well, which kind of led into my downer of I'm not going to get into all the details, but somebody with the grace of God and the wisdom that he was given was taking video at this exact moment. And I absolutely love this video.
Oh, okay. Before you start, I'm just gonna introduce this as it should be.
Yeah.
First of all, the fire master of Sausage Fest for 20 years is Alfred. Him and his brother Michael, they know exactly what they're doing, and they do a lot of great work, and we really appreciate it. This year, he went out of his way and built almost like a log cabin that had imploded, and this fire was huge. Okay, now he lights the fire, and he's purposely doing it from afar.
Oh, they'll see. Because
there was gasoline put on the fire, or in certain areas, strategically. And I'm going to tell you right now, it rained for 3 hours, 3 hours before.
Right. So this was wet wood.
If it hadn't rained, what happened could have been a lot more dangerous. Let's just put it that way.
Let's go to the video.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell.
I don't get the feeling that someone's about to film Alfred's death. Come on. Logo already. I'm crazy, but not that crazy.
Alfred, wait a second. This is slow motion. Welcome, man. Go green fire. All right. All right, you guys are. Here we go. Donovan. Right here. All right.
Are we ready?
Ready! 20 years!
Boom. 20 years of Sausage Fest. Wow.
That's what I wanted. Wow. Hey, it's already down like a foot off the ground. Did you feel it on the ankles?
It was like, oh, I did not expect that.
So, like I said, if the wood wasn't soaked, I wonder if that could have been a lot worse, man.
Right. Yeah.
But knowing Alfred, he probably put that into considerations.
Oh, I have no doubt the guy would have been safe no matter what. But that was the only thing about that video that's a little bit chilling is when Alfred says, "I did not expect that," because Alfred expects everything. Yeah. So that's the only moment of doubt that you actually have. But I mean, what an awesome fire!
It was amazing.
Edit that bit out in post.
What's that?
We'll edit that bit out in post.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Well, I like that part.
I do too.
Kind of like what Mike said. The fact that it actually took Alfred by surprise means it wasn't planned like that. Quite like that.
Right. It's a good thing Alfred still has eyebrows.
Yes, indeed. So
I got to try turning on this light again. But Meat Man, thank you for dropping by.
Thanks a lot, man. And Harrison, man, that Lego thing was well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
High praise coming from Meat.
Well, thank you for everything. It's been great meeting you, and like I said, I'm going to be pushing for more list shows. I don't care if they're fucking stupid.
Okay, well, do me a favor.
Be fun.
Before we go, just do me a favor, which is I really honestly don't know what I want to do next week, whether I want to do a rerun or, it's Labor Day weekend, so it's not impossible for me to go live next week. Let me know if you have any ideas and message me.
Let's just say with all the hubbub and hoopla of last LeBrain Day Never, you better not do one next week.
You know what? It's Labor Day weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. It might be a good time to play a rerun. Who knows? But anyways, thanks for coming out and sending me a message.
And I just wanted to say a shout out to the one person I think is probably still watching, which is Frank Toms, who ended up being a good sport and was roasted in the intro that we did, the Abbey Road, the rewriting of Abbey Road. Yeah. And my favorite line that Frank Toms looks like a slow John Favreau. which is still
He
makes me
kinda-
laugh.
He does.
He
He
does.
does.
He does.
He does.
There you go.
He does.
Ooh.
So I guess I guess he's going to go back to his job driving Tony Stark around.
Yes.
Telling you.
Okay. Actually, you know what, Meat? Before you go, why don't
Tony
you?
Stark's not exactly around to be driven around.
That's true. That's true. Okay, the corpse of Tony Stark.
All right. So, Meat Man, why don't you, as you depart, why don't you introduce the Nigel Tufnell top 10 while I go try to turn on this light? Because that's what we're doing. Now we are going to do the Nigel Tufnell top 10, Harrison and me, and some other lists, LeBrain Train episodes.
Take it away, Harrison and LeBrain. I am
This is your
gone.
brainchild. This is your brainchild.
Yeah, it was an idea that worked and stuck, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the show. I knew this was a LeBrain Train with guest host Harrison, and I've spoken way too much as it is. And
The more the merrier.
I'm looking forward to hearing more words and seeing the list. I'm really curious to see what people's lists are and what they think. And it's
All right.
gonna be fun to thank out. Thank you guys. Awesome.
This is the Nigel Tufnell top 10, and that's the Nigel Tufnell top 10 founder right there.
Sausage Fest, baby.
Ciao, Meat.
Take care, guys.
Ciao.
Nigel, Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnell. Oh, this one's gone to Nigel, Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnell. Nigel, Tufnell.
All right. So,
Shit, I just realized something. In the Lego thing, I gave Nigel Tufnell a white flying V because it was the only guitar I had left. Just seeing that now makes me realize, shit, that's actually accurate to what he has.
I was going to say it looked accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
And the shirt as well. You saw there, the one that it was based on.
Yes, I did. Yes. I'm going to start by reading Snowman and Rob's list.
Yep.
And then I think maybe, T-Bone wrote a little bit more. So maybe T-Bone's list we'll save for going in the rounds.
T-Bone has two, so we can put like one at Lake Cam's spot and like one between you and me and you.
I have two lists as well.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Okay. I'm going to start with Rob Daniels.
Right.
His list from 11 to 1. Number 11, Blind Buys. I loved that episode too. Number 10, One Hit Wonders. Again, that was the infamous Max the Axe list show. Number 9, last week's show. Top music we'd save from a fire, and he wished he would have been a part of it. I was trying to make a shorter show. And that,
Touche, man. Touche, man.
yeah, I was trying to go with just the four of us. It went 3 hours. Number 8, top cover tunes. Oh, awesome show. Top concept albums. That was one that Rob was on. Number 6, bands you've never heard of. Number 5, movie music mania, which was one that we did back in September. Martin Popoff. Number 3, top debut albums. That was on Meat's list. Number 2, top Spielberg films. And number 1, top animated films. Great bunch of lists there. John T. Snow. He has some minor comments. Number 11, last week's show, top albums to save in a fire. He says, I know I'm in that one, but man, Aaron's picks were amazing. Everyone's were great to see, as I love looking at the cool, rare stuff. Number 10, top bootlegs. That was also a great show.
Oh, yeah,
okay, only 2 more will have me in them, but I love bootlegs, and everyone had some really killer picks. Number 9.
More of mine don't have me in them than have me in them.
All of them have me in them. Number 9, top cover art designers. One of the main reasons I collect vinyl is the artwork. Number 8, the DLR skyscraper discussion with T-Bone. We should have done more of these in-depth album discussions. They were awesome. I agree. Let's do more.
Forbidden.
Ooh, no. Number 7, Aerosmith Done with Mirrors, same as above. Number 6, Mike Fraser, The Interview. He is on so many albums in my collection. How can I not love his stories? Number 5, Ryan Williams. And I didn't pick this because he's my brother-in-law. Great behind-the-scenes stories. Yes, true. Brent Jensen, the cassette episode. Having him go through his cassette tapes was a blast. Cool to see that he still had so many and in the cabinet. Great bands as well. Number 3, the Andy Curran, Mike Fraser combo episode. 2 really cool interviews back to back, and seeing them talk to each other for the first time in a while was special, as Meat alluded to. Number 2, top Spielberg films. Everyone was so passionate about their picks. Plus, there are so many I grew up with that I love. And then his number 1, understandably, Paul Lane. Paul Lane. He had great stories, and it was a bucket list thing for John to interview a rock star. Thanks to the LeBrain train for giving him that experience. And John, it will not be the last time. I sincerely hope it will not be the last time. Yes, Nigel Tufnell wears eye makeup in all the scenes where they're on stage.
The Sweet did that a lot in the early days of their career.
Yes, they did. Very similar to Nigel's. I don't know if I want to do a negative show like that, but it's possible.
We'll touch on the negativity very soon, just because.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. So I guess now we're going in rounds, and right. I can't read without a fucking light. So bear with me a second.
You have that round light, don't you? Oh, it's just me then, I guess, for a bit. I guess I'll.
Okay, if this light doesn't stay on, then I'm going to move proceedings indoors.
All right.
I made 2 lists. T-Bone made 2 lists. And you have...
One.
One.
Yeah, just one.
Okay. I guess I'll start then. My number 11 show, non-interview, I did the 2 lists, interviews and non-interviews, is one of my first solo shows. 80s, fuck, you know what, I'm going to move everything indoors. 80s history, and I'm going to play a music video while I move my proceedings indoors.
All right.
Sorry about this, folks.
Short one, I think.
Short one, yes, it won't take me long to move my proceedings indoors. 3 minutes is all I need. The God's on the radio.
All right.
Okay, I'll be back. I came back a lot quicker than I expected. Okay, God's on the radio. I'm moving indoors.
Fuck off. God's on the radio. You got Buddha on the audio. Scott Bale on the telephone. Dan Rather at Presidio and put all the knowledge in the same game.
What?
Oh, fuck.
Something happened.
Sorry.
Fuck off. God's on the radio. You got Buddha on the audio. Scott Bale on the telephone. Dan Rather at Presidio and put all the knowledge in the same game.
Okay, I think I'm okay here.
All right.
So, like I said, my number 11 is the 80s History Show. It was an early solo show. It was July 24th. I believe that makes it pre-StreamYard. And it was fun just talking about one of my favorite eras from one of my favorite bands. And yeah, number 11, 80s History. My number 11 interview show was actually Max the Axe. I had a lot of fun just letting him talk about his history. I'm going to kill this light. It's making me look like I have a halo. Yeah, it was really fun just hearing about his history and hearing his story. And yeah, do you want to go next?
The Oktoberfest Cheer EP as well.
I want to talk about that a bit later because he has copies and I haven't received it yet. But yeah, that's coming. The new EP is coming. Do you want to go next?
It was coming back then.
Yeah, it was. But it's been mixed and remixed since then.
I'm happy to work however you like. I can go now. All right. I was a bit of a wuss and I didn't order my list because that would have been hard and I didn't want to play favorites with my co-hosts, unintentionally or not. One honorable mention, I didn't include it on the list because it has an unfair advantage, and that's the birthday stream.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah. Oops. What just happened? There we go.
So, not in any order. I know this one's going to be higher on lots of other people's lists, but number 11 for me, Paul Lane. And I mean, I went into this show, not knowing who the guy was, not knowing anything about anything to do with him. And I watched it and it was really, really enjoyable. It was so much fun. It was such a great show. And to answer the question, one of the questions you asked him about KISS members, my answer is Eric Carr, for anyone who's interested.
The question was, what KISS member did you dress up as?
Or
when you were a kid?
It would be, not have.
Right.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about that question is it was one of the deepest moments of the entire interview. I just asked this offhand question about KISS, and then he started telling us, that basically music was forbidden in his household when he was growing up. And that it shed a whole new light onto Paul Lane and his story. And it just came from a rather innocent question. So that was a very, very proud moment for me. So
life finds a way.
Yeah, life finds a way. I realized I forgot. I got so many papers here. I didn't read Scotty Peddle's list.
Yeah, I'll just quickly finish up this entry then.
Sorry.
My choice of Eric Carr to be the one that I would do that, it's nowhere near as deep. It's just that I like the Fox look.
Good enough reason. Plus, that was a big Australian tour for him when they hired him. The Australia tour was one of his first big tours, if not his first. So sorry, I'm going to read Scotty Peddle's entire list real quick. He didn't put his in any specific order, but here's his list. Top KISS, top AC/DC, Eddie Van Halen tribute show, top Spielberg, Our Birthday Bash, which he appeared at that one. Maiden album covers, top cover tunes, top animated, Led Zeppelin deep cuts, one hit wonders, and 80s History, which is the one that I just picked.
I always enjoy the deep cuts shows because it's a good way to talk about stuff that doesn't usually get talked about. It's some good variety as well in that regard. Yeah,
we can take some inspiration from some of these older shows and remember about some of the things that we did.
Yeah, Lana's idea earlier of Queen deep cuts, it's not one that I'd be a part of, but it still sounds like a really good idea.
The Snowman would have to take part in that. That would be compulsory. Yeah. I would not do that show without the Snowman.
Yeah.
Haha. Okay, so I guess I'm back. I'm to T-Bone now. I'm doing far too much talking in this show, but I am going to represent.
It's your show.
It is my show, but I hate talking so much. It reminds me of the early shows when it was just me talking. Like me, T-Bone did 2 lists. He did celebrities and non-celebrities. And he's written a lot. So here we go. Non-celebrity interviews. Let me start by saying that for me, all the regular panelists on LeBrain Train are celebrities. I've watched Mike, Deke, Meat, Kevin, Sarah, Aaron, Rob, Mr. Snow, Harrison, Lana, etc. On TV more in the last year and a half than any other so-called stars. But for the sake of this list, these are my favorite episodes that include some combination of what I would call the regular panel, where no one person is being interviewed. So his number 11 is Greatest Live Albums Part 1, June 12th, 2020. This was the first episode I ever watched, as Deke asked me to submit a list and first told me about this new live stream show he was appearing on. So this one was special to me. And for the second live album show, we got his 2 brothers to put lists in as well. T-Bone's number 11 celebrity interview. Super difficult to choose and rank. The ranking could change daily, but here it is as of right now. He also limited it to 1 spot per celebrity. Number 11, Storm Force, September 4th, 2020. My jumping off point as a regular weekly viewer of the show. Originally, only Greg Frazier, the guitarist, was to be on the show, but drummer Brian Hamilton and vocalist Patrick Gagliardi joined as well, which made for great banter among the bandmates. Excellent show where Mike and Deke flexed their new interview chops for the first time and did not disappoint. And he's right, that opened up all the doors that came.
Yeah, I remember the first live album show. That was the pre-StreamYard day.
Yes, it was. It was Facebook Live.
I actually wanted to be on that one, but I think Deke scooped me before we could. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true because I could only have 1 guest at a time back then. So I guess we're back to me. My number 10 of the non-interview shows was actually Christmas Memories. It's another solo show. And that one was fun for me because I basically ran down all my favorite gifts that I got from my earliest childhood memories to the present day. And I ran TV ads, vintage toy ads for some of these action figures and so on and so forth. And I think my mom joined me for the Christmas show. And it was just really, really nice and good nostalgia, warm nostalgia. My number 10 interview show is Jacob Moon. Meat mentioned that it was very special. For me, it was also special because it was the first and so far only live musical performance on the LeBrain Train. He performed Someday by Steve Earle, specifically for Eric, which was very, very special. And so, yeah, that's my number 10s. Two number 10s. Over to you, Harrison.
Oh, it's me again.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, this is going way back. This is number 3. And this was back in the days when 3 hours was like a monumental achievement.
Yeah, now it's regular.
Yeah, now it's just like we didn't make 3 hours. Woo! Not that we don't ever not make 3 hours, but
yeah.
There was so much fun with this one. You were just fielding a ton of questions from the comments section. There was guess that beverage. There was tons of contrarianism from me in the comments. Some of it outdated, like my views on Alfred. I've come to like Judas Priest a lot more since then. There was show and tell as well. I think you had the Panama hat as well. It was just an all-round.
I can put it on now if I wanted to.
The phone falling as well. Like, I love how with the phone falling, you can start to see it go, and then you see the moment of realization as it clunks down, and it's just like, damn it.
So to elaborate real quick on what Harrison's talking about, the original LeBrain Train setup was this phone propped up underneath my monitor, lodged between the Harem Scarum collection box set, which Jon Snow showed off last week, on one side, and a Star Wars Black Series box on the other side, kind of keeping it upright. And as Harrison said, it would periodically, the charging cable's on the bottom, so I could never lay it flat. It needed support. And then periodically through the show, it would start to, and then.
I wonder if you could have turned it upside down, maybe. Never mind. And of course, that was the show with the prank calls as well. Did we ever figure out who did that?
Michael Morwood.
Okay, yeah. And it doesn't. This last thing I have to say doesn't actually have to do with number 3. It has to do with number 4. But I thought that Starfleet uniform you wore for number 4 was really cool, and I wish we could have seen it on more shows. It was almost like a uniform for the LeBrain train.
Well, it could make a return if you wanted to. It could. Not today, though.
Yeah, of course.
That's funny. So that was
number 3 was fun.
So that was the first 4 shows, basically. There, a lot of that stuff.
I know that was all from number 3.
That was all from number 3.
Yeah, all of
Really?
it occurred in number 3. Number 3 was like a massive 3-hour marathon. It had so much stuff in it. It was packed. It was great.
I thought the phone calls happened in the first episode.
No, I actually looked at the recap for number 3 on your site. I dug it up. It took a bit of searching, but I did dig it up, and that helped, quantify what was in it. The phone falling, of course, was in 3 and a bunch of others, but it was, yeah.
Do you think 3 is a candidate for being rerun?
It's if so, it will definitely show its age, because it's the portrait and it doesn't have the ability to show the comments on the screen.
Right, I have to read them all.
Yeah, so it would show its age if it was to be rerun. I wouldn't say it would be a high priority, but it would be nice for a retrospective look back at some point.
All right, cool. So T-Bone. Number 10, David Lee Roth Skyscraper Deep Dive, December 4th, 2020. Another selfish pick for me. Not picking it because it was a great episode, but personally, it was my first time on the show. It was a great episode. Personally, it was my first time on the show, and somehow that appearance relit a spark in me to get back into playing music and being creative. We've seen what's happened. That has been very therapeutic for me during these difficult times. Thank you, LeBrain Train. Number 10, interview. Ryan Williams, July 3rd, 2021. I'm fascinated by all the behind-the-scenes workings of the recording studio, and always have been. When someone is on the show telling tales from behind those hallowed doors, T-Bone will be listening. Man, I'm doing a lot of reading here. My number 9. I picked top music, you would say, from a fire. Mm-hmm. For all of these reasons that we are... that's regarding you. For all these reasons that we've talked about, it was really awesome seeing Jon Snow's vault. It was really awesome showing off some of these things that I'm really proud of, like my Iron Maiden box set and those cult box sets, getting values on them from Snowy. That was wild. Like what they're going for now, that's insane. So that was a lot of fun for me. And my number 9 interview show, I really had a great time with Robert Lawson. It's a small world that him and Sean Kelly worked together. We're both record store guys. We just had a really good time shooting the shit with Robert Lawson, and we will get him on again at some point. Yeah, my mom agrees.
That could apply to anyone, really.
That could apply to any of these. Yeah, that's a very good comment. I'll just put this up every once in a while. Yeah, you're right, Mom. You're right. Okay, so you're number 9.
All right. This is Chewing the Fat with T-Bone, otherwise known as the David Lee Roth Skyscraper discussion. And,
there you go.
Obviously, the most visible thing this did is introduce us to the legend that is James Tiberius Bone, as I like to call him. But man, this was just such a fun show. I loved the Shaun of the Dead challenge. It was great fun. I wish we did it more, because when you somebody mentioned negativity, like stop then show songs we hate. I actually think the negativity of the Shaun of the Dead challenge really worked, because just a short segment, because you don't usually rip into albums and bag them on the show. So just a short segment for variety where you just absolutely hammered these albums. It was interesting. It wasn't a whole show dedicated to being negative, but it was just fun to hear, the change of pace and, the change of language about how we all, didn't like certain albums, because we don't usually get that on the train. T-Bone was just such an engaging co-host, and with Deke as well, that combo was great.
It was great.
Yeah, and it was. I was rewatching it just yesterday, and it was so much fun. Like it had the original "He Who Must Not Be Named." You know, "He Who Must Not Be Named" 1. There was that whole bit about him,
Right, because he plays on that album. Yeah,
which was funny. The veiled way we referred to him. I cracked you up quite a few times as well. That was just fun to see you laughing and just having a smiling because of what I said. You know, the best one was when during the Shaun of the Dead challenge when Rosanna said, I would throw Chinese democracy to the zombies. Well, the problem with Chinese democracy is when you throw it, it would take so long to reach them. You know, you'd be dead before it hits them. And you just like cracked up halfway through reading that sentence.
That is a very good. That was great comment.
It's just
we're on number 9.
Yeah. It's just really nice to see, the tangible impact of something I've done create like smiles and laughs. And I was getting as good as I was giving. I cracked up when T-Bone or was it Deke said, you should be honored all 3 of Vinnie Vincent's fans read your blog.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this was a great show. Great fun. And then, of course, there was a whole album discussion on top of that as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun for me. That's one of my favorite albums anyway.
The start of something great with T-Bone this show was.
Yeah, and I want to do more of those. Now, this winter,
we need to get T-Bone on. He's
He'll be back soon. September.
Yes.
Okay, T-Bone. Number 9. Top Spielberg films. This is like the 4th time, 5th time we've seen this come up. Mm-hmm. I was actually surprised as to how into it I got with that episode. Off the musical beaten path, but still a great show. His number 9 interview show is Martin Popoff, King's X, February 13th, 2021. Mike, Deke, Meat, and Martin counted down their top 5 King's X albums. I didn't listen to a lot of King's X over the years, so this was an informative show, and I could sense a passion for the group amongst the panel. Plus, we sold a few King's X albums that night. Oh, geez, now there's an argument about Chris Slade in the comments.
What started it?
Lana complaining about Chris Slade right here. So this is going on.
She probably wouldn't like the fact that I put Chris Slade in the back of that thing. I could have gone for John Bonham, but I felt Chris Slade was a bit more recognizable based on his head.
I liked that it was Chris Slade.
Plus, Chris Slade is always smiling.
Yes, he's got that grin. Okay, so we're into the number 8s. My number 8 is ZZ Top Deep Cuts, which has that come up yet or not? I can't remember.
No, I don't think it has.
It was the very first show of 2021. It was with Kevin, Sarah, and Aaron. Of course, Aaron, if we're going to do ZZ Top Deep Cuts. I had a blast. And of course, this is long before Dusty passed away, so it kind of feels like maybe that would be a good one to do a rerun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a brilliant show, and also some of my favorite artwork where I took the Eliminator model car and I put it on the train tracks. So, that was a good show. I really had a great time with the ZZ Top Deep Cuts. And my number 8 interview show was with Stormforce. It opened some doors, obviously, and we'll be having them back on the 24th. It was just a great time. I didn't know if we could ever do anything to top it, and stuff has happened since. But Stormforce, the very first. And T-Bone, number 8. Desert Island Discs. I loved that episode.
I think you skipped me. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
T-Bone usually goes after me. I'm
losing track because I was originally he was the late cam, and then I got off of that. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm not surprised because this list was filled with the bands you don't know, so of course you'd forget them. But this was just a really fun one. It was a great idea, especially because everyone had brought something new and interesting, and it was just the right sort of idea for this sort of friend discussion with all our friends, like, oh, here's this great music. I wasn't on the show, but I fielded my own list. And one of my favorite moments from that show came from how me and Rob were like so on the same wavelength, because at the very start, I offhandedly mentioned, I wonder if Tony Kane will be on Rob's list. And then like around number 2, I'm just there, and Rob goes, Harrison Coppel. I was like, yes, as I'm sitting there, and he's just like, and then it was Tony Kane, and I called it. That was just a fun moment. It wasn't the last time that me and Rob were on the same wavelength, and you'll be hearing more about that second one soon.
Good pick, Harrison. I'm going to remove the lake cam because the sun has set and there's nothing left to see. There we go. Okay.
Oh, Pulse is gone.
What's that?
Pulse is gone.
Here, we'll pulse back.
Nah, it's fine.
T-Bone, Desert Island Disc, number 8. Rob Daniels wore shark glasses and Harrison was the super contrarian. You want entertainment? You got it, baby. That was a great show. I very much enjoyed doing Desert Island.
You wanted
Disc.
the contrarianism, you got the contrarianism. The contrariest man in the world.
He's not wrong. Number 8, Interview, Suicide Star, June 26, 2021. Brian Hamilton and Rob Barton were candid, interesting, and entertaining. What more could you ask for? The fact that Brian came back to the show after already being a member of Stormforce just showed what a cool guy he was, and also demonstrated that he loves music and loves talking about it.
And you sold a couple discs as well that show.
Frankie Toms went and bought one the next day. So, yeah, impressive. Number 7. I picked as a list show, as a non-interview show. Oh, sorry. That's my number 6. My number 7, Top Maiden artwork. I really enjoyed doing that one. We did a lot of visuals that night. I believe Jeff Steven was graphing that night. Was that the one that he was graphing for?
No,
it was a Deep Cuts.
Deep Cuts.
Well, it was still a great show. And, of course, T-Bone did that artwork, the covers of the Beast. It was a great show. I really enjoyed doing the Maiden artwork. So much to choose from. My number 7 interview was Ryan Williams. Same reason as T-Bone. I love knowing about the inner workings of a studio, and we got that with Mike Fraser and Ryan Williams. And thank you, John, for bringing Ryan Williams on to the show. Those are my number 7s. Over to you.
Alrighty, my number 7 is an old one again. It's Top 10 Rush album. The debut of the Nigel Tufnell Top 10. The first time the LeBrain train was saved. And he cements Meat as one of the 4 heralds of the LeBrain train. And as I alluded to earlier, this show was only 65 minutes, and you got through 3 or 4 lists in half the time, basically, and then the second half, which is admittedly the reason why I like it, was just show and tell of pretty much your entire Tony Martin with Black Sabbath discography, which was very me-centric there. And then, like, with 5 minutes to go before, and I quote, you said, "Before we call the show a rousing success," like it was already a rousing success before. You're like, let's just go look on Discogs and see what Cross Purposes Japanese sells for, because you said, "Oh, you see, Harrison, the problem is that when I buy this Japanese version, when I splurge $100 on it, Tony's just going to reissue it." So I'm just like, buy the reissue then. Sorry, no, buy the import then, because I wanted it to get reissued. But that was a bit like tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
But you took it a bit more literally, and you're like, easy for you to say, it's my money.
Yeah.
And then that's what led to you just saying, on a whim, basically looking at Discogs and actually buying it and completing the collection. And it was just such a moment that could have easily not happened at all. And then, of course, Sabbath went and released a whole bunch of super deluxe box sets that you got to buy to complete the collection. But for a brief moment, it was done. Yes.
And all the Black Sabbath super deluxes are either in the house or on pre-order. So no issues there. We're still up to date. That episode was the debut of the Nigel Tufnell Top 10, May 16th.
Number 5 or something.
Sorry?
I think it was like number 5 or 6.
It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. It was the 10th show.
Okay, it was a few more then. But looking back, I looked at how close it was to the start, and I'm like, was it really that soon? Because it didn't feel like it went that long, that quickly, But yeah, the Nigel Tufnell list came quickly.
Yeah, and at that point of the show, I was out of ideas. And, that was back when we thought COVID was going to be 3 weeks. Then we thought it was going to be a couple of months. And I planned on doing a few weeks of these live shows. And this is now the 10th one. And I'm like, how do I keep going? I have no ideas. And Meat came up with this idea of doing these Nigel Tufnell top 10s, which are 11. And we ran with it. We'd get Kiss the following week. So
honestly, that number one, that extra one on the 11 sometimes makes such a difference to the hard decision of what to put on and what not.
Yeah, for sure.
I look at all my Nigel Tufnell top 11s and I think if this was a top 10, it would have been so much harder. So thank you, Mr. Nigel Tufnell.
I think the shortest show might have been that first Judas Priest list show that we did together. It came in at under an hour.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was just like 2 lists back and forth, and it was getting dark, I believe.
It was raining.
Yeah. Actually, it was a morning for you.
It was a morning. It was a Saturday morning show.
Getting dark.
No, but it was raining.
Then, yeah.
It was cold and it was raining.
Yeah, that's right. So we did call it.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Number 7, T-Bone. Bands you've never heard of, December 18th, 2020. This show surprised me and was very informative. I actually remember looking up many of these bands afterwards, as did I. His number 7 interview, Polychuck, July 31st, 2021. When I first saw a few of his videos that Deke sent me, I could tell right away he was super talented. But on screen, he has a very serious kick-your-ass vibe. When Mike and Deke interviewed him, he was super laid back, welcoming, and truly seemed to enjoy himself. A smart, passionate musician and songwriter who has a bright future. Loved this episode. And that is all true praise. He refers to, Chris Sarr refers to somebody as,
must not be named too.
as the hijacker because of what happened that one time. Okay, so my number 6 show, I decided to count as a list show rather than an interview show, but other people have counted it as an interview show. Doesn't matter. It's Martin Popoff's second appearance, the King's X List show. The first one, I was really tense interviewing my hero, and the second one, I was much more relaxed. And I just had a great time. I got to ask him a few King's X questions that I'd always wanted to ask him. I just thought it went great. So Martin Popoff, the top King's X, my number 6. My number 6 interview show is Brent Jensen, number 2, the infamous mahogany cassette case. It's made a few list shows. It's made a few lists already. It was a great show. Brent is so good to us. He is a super, super cool guy. And I would love to have Brent on again in a few months. So that's my number 6s. That's true. That is true. Over to you, Harrison.
All right, number 6. It's come up a couple times. Iron Maiden cover art. Just, so much pictures, so much show and tell. It's not just us talking. Not that us talking is bad, but it adds a lot of variety, and it was just so much fun talking about pictures and, pointing out. I did get a bit technical with like these colors, how these colors mix. But in the end, it was just great fun. And honestly, I think out of all the show graphics that T-Bone has done, I think the covers of the Beast is far and away the best. And I might even prefer the covers of the Beast version to the actual Number of the Beast cover. I think I prefer the lines, and I love trains. So
the train edition was very cool.
I just love that piece of art. So it was sad to see that it got booted from the LeBrain train intro video recently. But
it is in Ode to Dar.
Yes, which will get played a lot.
Ode to Dar will get played a lot, yes. Okay, so T-Bone's number 6. Interestingly enough, top Maiden artwork. May 12th, 2021. Always loved Derek Riggs' artwork on Maiden albums and didn't even realize that others had contributed to the artwork. Number 6, interview, Frank Lafredo, which Meat said, Meat had that on his list as well. Frank was amazing. It's not every day that you get to watch a movie about the guy that gave you your first shot at performing in front of a crowd. He's referring to the infamous Current River. And then you get to watch 2 of your buddies interview him on your favorite live stream show. But yep, that's what happened. Frank is awesome. That was a lot of fun interviewing Frank, and I know for a fact that he really had a great time. So, yeah. And Meat also loved the Maiden artwork show. Number 5.
I'm not sure if Meat was on the Maiden artwork. Yeah, he was on Deke.
Yeah, you're right.
It was Deke. Yeah, that's the only time I've actually been on with Deke.
Because Deke wanted to show off some of his amazing Maiden vinyls. Because he's got
and
the first 10.
too.
And T-shirts. Yeah. That's right.
I mean, actually, I actually asked for him to be on. I think he was planning on taking the week off, but
Deke is always planning on taking time off, and then it's like, oh, we got to do an interview.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to take the entire summer off, and we ended up doing 2 interviews with Deke. Oh, shoot. Okay, so my number 5. We've talked about it a few times. The David Lee Roth Skyscraper discussion, which was also T-Bone number 1. Great show, great album that I love very much. And yeah, you're right. You know, the Shaun of the Dead challenge was fun, and we should resurrect that. Maybe it's a quick list of 3. Do those.
It was 5, I believe.
We could do 3. So
yeah, 3 or 5. Yeah, depends on how much crap we bought.
Yeah,
not much for me.
Well, for me, it would be a repeat, so I'd have to come up with some fresh ideas. My number 5.
Those 5,000 CDs, you could find a couple that you could throw.
I think I chose all vinyl, though, because it needed to be something weighty enough to take off the head of a zombie.
Because I only have
I put a lot of thought into that list, man.
I'd use the CDs and I'd go for the eyes and try to blind them if I was doing it.
That's funny. Number 5, Suicide Star. Brian Hamilton and Rob Barton. Rob was so cool. Brian is always cool, but I didn't know Rob before. And learning something about their personal history and their previous bands that they've worked with, that was a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that we sold a couple albums on their behalf. Pardon me. I don't know what else to say about that show. It was just really, really great. So those are my number 5s.
All right. It's been mentioned a couple times. Yeah. Pretty much most of my ones have been mentioned a couple times already, but this one is cover songs. Yeah. I was actually a part of this one. It was great fun to just talk about things. We don't usually touch on covers because they're usually lesser thing. I am the covers guy as well, so it was great to bring some of my knowledge there, even though a couple of my selections were balked at, but it wouldn't be a Harrison show without a bit of disagreement. And this was the second time that Rob and I ended up being on the same wavelength without planning it, because... Okay, I'll leave it outside then.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just ordering my coffee.
Yeah, I guess that beverage. I picked Shirley Manson's cover of Samson and Delilah for my number 10, and I think for number 2, Rob picked it as well. So
that was weird that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Rob and I are a good team.
By the way, speaking of guess that beverage, one thing I remember is that right at the very start of the pandemic, our coffee machine broke. So I needed to buy a new coffee machine. I ordered an espresso machine. And that's kind of where that began. I believe the previous week I did Guess That in Espresso. And because I didn't want to do a repeat of the exact same thing, I did Guess That Beverage the following week.
And you drank cream.
And I did drink. I like drinking cream, to be honest with you. Don't tell my doctor. Thank you, Chris. That was a lot of fun. Chris also loves cover tunes. Okay, so T-Bone's number 5. ZZ Top Deep Cuts, January 8th, 2021. Always loved ZZ Top, and this is probably making the list due to the recent unfortunate passing of Dusty Hill, but still a great episode. That might be a good one to rerun.
Yes.
His number 5 interview is, yet again, Brent Jensen, number 2, the Mahogany cassette case, March 19th, 2021, actually. I picked Brent's second appearance not because the first was bad. On the contrary, the first was amazing. I chose his second appearance over the first solely because Brent revisiting some of his old cassettes from his old tape case. That was super cool, and so is Brent Jensen. Here, T-Bone. That is 100% true. I should also just mention that the birthday show has come up a few times, and Brent, he dropped in for the birthday show.
That was really nice of him.
That was really
I
cool.
wanted him to, herald it, bring it in. Because
I was hoping, and
it
he was
his
true to his
list
word.
idea.
Good guy. Good guy.
And I never thought that the LeBrain train would get any mileage out of cassettes, but what do you know?
I might be turning around on cassettes a little bit now that I'm learning more about what Bop had been trying to tell me for years. Lana really liked the Done with Mirrors show. I remember that one being I was basically like one of only 2 dissenting voices on Done with Mirrors, so I felt very ganged up and outnumbered on that, but not nearly so much as I did on the 5150 show.
If you want to feel better, we could do Forbidden. I don't
think we could find other people to want to
I know,
participate in that. Like, Meat won't even listen to the album.
I'm just joking.
I know. My number 4. One thing I wanted to do this summer, but could not do this summer because Deke wanted to take a break, and that's totally cool. Last year, we did a deep dive into the year 1980, and each of us picked 3 albums to discuss in depth. I can't remember specifically my 3, but I think I picked British Steel, Heaven and Hell, and Iron Maiden. I think that might be my...
Those are the usual suspects.
Yes, and Deke picked his own 3, which I don't ask now. I don't even remember. But I had a lot of fun
that year.
Sorry?
I think there might have been a Motorhead album that year.
Maybe. Sorry. Brain fart. Okay, yeah. We did a deep dive into the year 1980, and I wanted to do another one for 1981 because there's so many more albums having their 40th anniversary. But I thought it was a fun little deep dive that we did. It was different from any other show that we did. And another thing that I did just for a blast was I also did like world history of 1981 during our countdown. And that was kind of neat because it added in some context. So I was very, very, very proud of that show. And that's another one that, even though it's the vertical screen thing, I would still like to give that one a rerun because I think we did a shit ton of research, man. I learned that Mike doesn't hate Done with Mirrors or 5150 as much as he says. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe it's all for show. Hey, Rob, I wanted to do it. Maybe we still can.
I'd have some out of the box picks for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you would. You're Harrison. Maybe we can do this when Deke comes out of his summer vacation. Maybe we can get Rob and Harrison and Deke and do this 1981 thing. We should have done it in the summer, but hey, we're all good. I'm talking too much. Number 4, interview, Sean Kelly. As Meat said earlier, what can you say about Sean Kelly? The guy is so friendly. He is a genius. He is open. He is funny. He has nothing negative to say about anything. And I learned so much from him in that brief, well, I shouldn't say brief. He did 2 hours with us. But I learned so much. And my big takeaway, first of all, I will say, if anyone follows Sean Kelly on social media, he never has anything negative to say, ever. And he said something really revelatory to me. We were talking about guilty pleasures. And Sean Kelly said, to me, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. If you like it, it's good. Take pride in it. There's no reason to feel guilty about liking something, liking music. So I take that to heart now. And I don't use the word guilty pleasures anymore. And that came from Sean Kelly. Man, I hope I get to talk to that guy again at some point in the future. He's got so much cooking. And he's another guy that has worked with the amazing Mike Fraser, who's come up in these lists many times. So yeah, that's my number 4s. Over to you, Harrison.
All right. Desert Island Discs. I'll always love when we get to talk about things more personal to us because you get a deeper connection and, you get some stories as well to go with it rather than just more the factual stuff. And Desert Island Discs was great fun. We all got to talk about, all these discs and music that we play. I really optimized my list. Like if I take from this, then I can balance that with this and this. But even with that, it was still just really fun. And Yeah, Rob was there.
Yeah.
A lot of other people there. This is one I don't have much to say other than it was just really fun.
It was also fun for me because Holland submitted a list, and I did his list in the form of little miniature
yes.
videos. And I thought it was going to be a lot of work, but I managed to streamline the process. And I did that by recording all of my audio in one shot and then just editing it into little bits. But it was a lot of fun for me to do that. Again, it was a creative outlet, and I've been enjoying using the show as a creative outlet. Yeah. So I guess we're on to T-Bone's next picks. T-Bone's number 4. A great show and a spontaneous one. We didn't have a choice. Tribute to Eddie Van Halen, October 9. All I can say is that this has been the most difficult celebrity death I've had to process. I finally understood how my mom felt in August 1977 when she got the news of Elvis Presley's passing while we were on a family trip in the States. T-Bone says he needed that show. And I did. We all did. That was a really special show to be a part of. His number 4 interview is Paul Lane, May 7, 2021. Maybe the episode that surprised me the most because of how much I loved it. I didn't expect not to like it. I just didn't expect to love it as much as I did. What a super great, level-headed guy with zero ego and an impressive career. Paul is who you'd like all your rock stars to be. 100% true on every count there. Which I guess brings it back to me. My number 3. We're heading into the top 3 here. And you know what? It's 9 o'clock. Before we head into the top 3, I got to go outside and I got to go retrieve the lake cam. Do you want to take a quick break?
Yes, I could just use a toilet break. Thanks.
Okay, so what I'm going to do for our quick break here, then we'll go into the top 3, is T-Bone made a brand new LeBrain Train intro where we are trying to incorporate more people that have been on the show. And we can run that just for fun.
Might be a bit short, but okay.
If it's a bit short, I'll cover for you.
Yep.
No problemo. Take your time.
Thanks.
Okay, so enjoy T-Bone's brand new LeBrain Train. Well, not brand new. I mean, you've heard the song. You know the song. Just this has some more people in it. Enjoy T-Bone's work.
Ticket to anywhere and a glazed donut to go.
There you go. There's the brand new LeBrain Train intro. And I really enjoyed that. We kind of collaborated on this one a little bit. He sent it to me this morning, and I added some people in there. But I also added that the fiery explosion. You'll see next time we play that intro.
I saw it because you gave me the preview.
That's right. I did. That's right. Sean Kelly has played on some albums that I would not normally buy, but he is buying due to his presence, like the Nelly Furtado collection. I get as a musical artist that even okay, so he's going to continue his comment there. Isn't that interesting? Van Halen live without a net from the 5150 tour.
That one's in this house somewhere.
Live without a net?
Yeah.
DVD?
Yeah, somewhere in this house.
Cool.
It's not in my personal collection.
It was one that Much Music in Canada broadcast like 87-ish, and I recorded it off TV, and I was shocked how much talking happened on stage and not songs. A lot of Sammy Hagar talks a lot on that video. But anyway, my number 3 show that has come up several times tonight, One Hit Wonders with Max the fucking Axe. He was so funny that night. People had a great time with that show. It was at the time like the longest show we'd ever done.
Yeah, probably considering how many people were on.
Yeah, it was 10, I think.
At one point, I think.
Yeah, at one point there was 10. My number 3 interview was Polychuck. We've talked about this guy a few times. They approached us. Their PR company, Chipster Incorporated, approached Deke and said, "Are you interested in talking to this new guy out of Montreal? He's a multi-instrumentalist, but he really shreds on the guitar." So Deke asked me if I was interested. And at first I said, yeah, but they asked you, Deke, so this is your thing. And Deke, he's so nice. He kind of like insisted that we do it together. It's not that I didn't want to do it. It was that they approached Deke, and I thought, Deke, he deserves, he doesn't need me, He's more than capable of interviewing somebody like Polychuck on his own at this point. And I thought maybe Deke should have the opportunity to make this his interview, right? But Deke was very kind, and so we split Polychuck. We did our typical thing that we do with our interviews. We do our back and forth. And with Polychuck, it was so natural. And, we had so much in common with this guy. And it's like the mixed martial arts background that he has is so not anything that I have anything to do with in my life. It's all new to me. And it was just a blast connecting to somebody from a completely different world. And I would love to talk to Polychuck again. He was just awesome. I don't remember this specific moment, but yeah, Max, we have lots of Max stories. Polychuck was a good show. Hearing T-Bone and Deke's passion for that album, they must be talking about the 5150 show. Bass player and great guy Mark McIntyre from Hibakusha also played with Nelly Furtado. They're talking about Sean Kelly. Oh, dude, I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything about what Max the Axe does. I have been around him when he's been hitting on waitresses. It's not a comfortable place to be. I just kind of do this. I don't know if you've ever done this, Harrison, if you've been out to dinner with people that embarrass you and you just kind of go looking up the
Not really. I don't
know.
I haven't had that dubious honor.
I've done that with Max the Axe a couple of times. Anyway, those are my number 3s. What do you got?
This is a show which I was actually offered a place on, and I was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. And then I was watching this show, and I'm like, damn, I wish I was up there. So much that I went and did my list for it today. It's the Firehouse list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this was just, it's more of those personal albums, but with so much show and tell, it was so much fun just seeing all this stuff and, tons of all this rare stuff and interesting stuff, and just stuff.
You know what, Harrison? That show might have been the very first show that was entirely show and tell.
Yeah, because you would have had to have had it on hand in order to save
Right.
it.
And most of the time, like, I mean, you've seen what my collection looks like back home. Exactly. Oh, that's what he's referring to. Oh, you mean there's two of them? Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I don't always do the show and tell because it's sometimes too much of a pain in the ass to retrieve the album. You asked me the other day why I didn't have my Blaze Bayley Silicon Messiah CD in that little photograph that I took. Don't ask me to find that, man. Like, basically what I've done is over the years, I've kind of migrated a lot of my CDs from their proper filing spots to just random piles. And it wasn't smart. And it was done out of sheer laziness. And I have to live with my mistake. And eventually I'll get some proper cabinets built and we'll have everything alphabetized again. But for now, it's really hard for me to do show and tell sometimes.
Yeah. Speaking of Silicon Messiah, just quickly, whenever Demolition comes up, you always ask, like, what's a cyberface? Well, I'm pretty sure what's on the front cover of Silicon Messiah is a cyberface.
Right, and that's Blaze's face, but with like circuitry.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, circuitry superimposed. It's actually a pretty good cover.
Yeah.
And as Harrison alluded to earlier, when he said that he would save his Blaze Bayley Alive in Poland CD from his collection, that is a double live album that I will be reviewing on my website very, very soon.
To Aaron's delight.
And I will give credit where credit's due. Blaze as a solo artist is, he's fucking shit hot. Yeah. There's some good stuff.
Speaking of great cover art of Blaze's and Blaze's face, this is his latest album, Disenchantel, and I love this cover art. Yeah, it's similar to Silicon Messiah, and it's his face with circuitry and stuff, but I just really love the colors. Sorry, this is getting a little off track.
It's okay.
But, and there's a ton of Easter eggs dedicated to like the songs, like that's a reference to the Fighter Squadron one, of course. You know, the Nikola Tesla there with the lightning, Stephen Hawking with the black hole. It's just, and it's a great album. I reviewed it recently, so I'll shut up about it now.
We'll talk about Blaze in a maybe this week. Who knows when I'm going to post it? I haven't decided, but we'll talk about Blaze soon. And one thing I do like about Blaze is his science fiction lyrical background. Very much enjoy that. I guess we're on to T-Bone, right?
I believe so.
T-Bone's number 3. Number 3, Van Halen Deep Cuts. Wait. Yeah, Van Halen Deep Cuts. So he picked Van Halen Tribute to Eddie Van Halen as his number 4 and Van Halen Deep Cuts as his number 3. That's pretty cool.
Which
October
came first?
We did the memorial, the tribute thing to him the week that he passed, and then we did Deep Cuts a few weeks later on October 30th. The wounds were still there, and as a diehard fan, this was another welcome opportunity to celebrate one of my greatest heroes and his legacy. Well said. Number 3, interview. January 29, 2021. Mike Fraser. That would be the first Mike Fraser. When I heard that the sound engineer that I had watched numerous times in the Aerosmith Making of Pump video, and whose name appeared on hundreds of the albums, CDs, and tapes I've listened to over the years, was coming onto the show, I was super crazy pumped. No pun intended. I was so pumped, in fact, that I was preparing myself to be disappointed. But Mike surpassed my hopeful expectations by a mile, and I could have watched a 5-hour show with him on there. So true. That was a really special show. And what a
Mike
cool
Fraser's
guy.
A really cool dude.
He is such a cool dude.
He knows meat by nickname. That's just...
He's obsessed with meat. He's like, hey, where's the meat man tonight? Yeah, you know what? I said I wanted to do a remastered version of the Ballads show, and that's true. I do. What happened there was that was back in the Facebook Live days, and I was doing it on this phone, and for some reason the Wi-Fi was disconnected, and I was doing it on my data, and it overheated, and it was a shit show. We can do it better.
With more people.
Oh, that's great.
I like the cover too. Thank you.
So I guess we're on to my number 2s. Zeppelin Deep Cuts. I think that one came up once before. That was, again, with Aaron and Sarah and Kevin. And was Jeff? Maybe it was Jeff, not Aaron.
So, yeah. He was, I think, Physical Graffiti 1, if I remember. Or maybe
Yeah.
Did we do Led Zeppelin albums? Or was it Deep Cuts? Because I remember Physical Graffiti just one time Jeff was graphing.
1 second here. I should have written this down, but I'll just go on my website.
I remember being happy about that because I love Physical Graffiti.
Led Zeppelin lists and guests. According to my notes here, it was with Jeff Stephen, Kevin and Sarah. And I don't know if this was the first graph show. It sounds like him. It sounds like he was the. It sounds like this was his debut because I said the hero of the night is Graph Wizard Jeff from 1001 Albums in 10
That
Years.
sounds like him.
So that does sound like probably his debut on Graphs. So that is that was a fun show. And also, before T-Bone started doing all this artwork himself, which thank you, T-Bone, I was doing a lot of the artwork based on Sage's original train artwork. And that was a fun one for me because I had the train hitting the Zeppelin with a fiery explosion.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed, yes, Zeppelin was Jeff's first, confirms Kevin. Yeah. Look at this. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Wow. Jeff's a popular guy.
He's so great.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more about Jeff when we're done our countdown here because I still want to talk about some other episodes. Yeah. Anyway, that is T-Bone's number. Or that was my number 2 and my number 2 interview. The Andy and Mike double interview episode. Once again, Andy Curran. Can't say anything about that guy except praise. What an awesome guest. One of the truly great guests that we've had on this show. And having him and Mike Fraser collide in that in-between section was a dream come true. I hoped it would happen. I talked to Deke about it. I said, if there's a chance that we can make it happen, we're going to bring them all both on at the same time. And it worked. And that was just a dream come true. And there's that one screenshot that we keep seeing. And it's Andy doing this. And it's Mike just smiling. It's great to bring those two guys together. And I remember that. We made a lot of jokes about that. We made a lot of very oblique U.S. election jokes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did.
Yeah.
I think I said something like stop. Actually, I was going to say, I think
stop the count. Stop the count.
Yeah, just as Physical Graffiti edged ahead.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was so timely. So that's my number 2, and over to you.
All right, this is another recent one. It's animated movies, and I just really love that. I think the last 2 shows we've done. So no, of the last 3. Let me just start again.
Okay, so the last 3 that we did.
It was Firehouse, then
Spielberg animated and Firehouse.
Those 2, Spielberg animated. Talking about movies was such a fresh direction for things. It really not that it was getting stale, but it was just something, really new and interesting. There were a ton of new dynamics too. There was Lana and Eric, myself and Eric, Lana and Kevin. It was just really interesting. There was a huge variety of discussions from, the movies to all sorts of things over the 4 bloody hours that we went for. And even when Kevin, he was talking about aspect ratios and matting and stuff.
That was
I honestly found that really, really interesting.
Me too.
Because I come from probably the tail end of that 4:3 era with the box TV. So I've experienced both. And that was just really, really interesting. And fun.
Like we were talking about on that show, trying to explain that to a customer at the record store was like trying to explain nuclear physics to a mole. But yeah, that was.
And sticking with animated movies, because we know how much you like Rodimus Prime. Amazon decided this week to ship out my Galvatron.
There it is. That's the new. Is that Studio Series or is that Kingdom?
That's Kingdom.
That's Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say it's the best Galvatron figure, basically.
It's the only good Galvatron figure, basically. But yeah.
I didn't mind the Titans figure or the headmaster
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot of people, don't like that. I don't like it because I hate the Titan Master gimmick, how it compromises his face look.
True, but I bought a helmet that
Yeah, true. Yeah,
a third-party
Also,
helmet.
I just don't like the idea of headmasters in general. But that's getting off topic.
We can go there another day. T-Bone's number 2s. Number 2 list show. Appearing once again. One Hit Wonders, November 27th, 2020. His only comment here is Max the fucking Axe. Number 2,
Max on again. He's sort of a big deal,
We will get Max on again, especially when I get that. Especially when I get the album in my hands, or the EP, I should say. We'll definitely talk to Max, and if I can get Meat on when I talk to Max, because I've already talked to Max for like an hour and a half, it would be nice to get Meat on for some more banter. But we'll see what we can do. T-Bone's number 2. Sean Kelly, May 21st, 2021. A throwback rock star who still has the look, talks the talk, and walks the walk. He has had success on his own, as well as collaborating with numerous popular names in the music industry. All that, but he still manages to carry himself in a way that shows no sign of ego. He presents himself with a laid-back, living my best life kind of attitude, and you just feel good listening to all his stories. Just another amazing show and guest. Thank you, T-Bone. Can you stop sticking your probe into the screen, Harrison? I think that refers to Galvatron's cannon, I think.
Yeah. The space cannon.
Oh, you know what?
Oh.
You know what?
Meat would hate it, but that's a good...
That might be a good one to get Eric Woods on with, too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Rob. That's a good idea.
I've definitely got some very nostalgic things to talk about for that one.
I might even have some ability to do some show and tell on some of those.
I've got a lot of show and tell.
Most of my childhood toys are either in storage or gone, but that's Brian is voting no on the childhood toys. Okay, so T-Bone has done his number 2s. I guess that means I'm doing my number 1s, right?
You mean you're doing the Paul Lane one?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Oh, no, wait. There's some debating going on whether it was a good idea or not. I like it, but some people will not like it. My number 1 show for the regular non-interviews, kind of a selfish pick, but that's what tonight is about. I picked let me find the date. I picked sorry, I just need to find the date. There it is, July 31st, 2020. I called it the Nostalgia Stream, but what it was a series of childhood stories about me and my best friend Bob growing up. And what had happened that week is that we had just reconnected. I'd written something really special for him on my website. My sister sent it to him. She emailed him, and he called me later on that week, and we reconnected. And I was just really riding high on some great nostalgia. So I did a live show about it. I think it's one of the best shows I've ever done. I think it deserves a rerun. But that was my number 1 for my list shows. And again, it's a selfish pick. Nobody else picked it, but that one was all about me, basically. And yeah, my number 1 interview, you called it. It was Mr. Paul Lane. Paul Lane is an incredible individual. I would say no ego with him as well. Same thing that applied to Sean Kelly. Really open, great stories, fantastic talent. Fantastic hair. But again, the most memorable moment for the Paul Lane episode was when I asked him, which member of KISS did you dress up as when you were a kid? And he responded, music was forbidden in my house when I was growing up. And we talked about leaving home at like age 13 or whatever it was. And he started working and making money. And I believe he had I can't remember, I think it was a music management company that he started and sold to finance his first demos and get Bruce Fairbairn as his producer. What an incredible story that guy had. And again, it just asking that very innocent KISS question and leading to that real openness was a very special moment for me. I feel that it was my best interview that I've ever done. Jon Snow, obviously, for him. And bucket list. It wasn't on my bucket list until I did it and realized it was on my bucket list. And yeah, my mom really enjoyed the Pauline. I have done a lot of similar stuff to this, so I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. And yeah, Cop would have the Wiggles at number one. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I didn't even remember that they were Australian until I asked, oh yeah, what was with the Wiggles thing at the intro of the HPE Triple M?
That was so funny when he sent that to me and you were all the Wiggles in that picture. That was so funny.
I didn't even notice that it was the face swap as well until I rewatched it, because I was still like processing what I was seeing the very first time I saw it.
Yeah,
I sort of went by without noticing it. But I will say that does remind me that one of the first CDs I ever remember listening to was a Wiggles CD.
That's
along with
funny.
a Led Zeppelin CD on my dad. He had these two big speakers and he played Led Zeppelin loud.
And the Wiggles for you.
Yes.
I'm glad that you listened to good music today and not still the Wiggles. But to each their own. I have nothing against the Wiggles. Meat says he's heard lots of Wiggles in his day. But what is your real number one?
All right. It is Priest 2.
Priest 2.
1 was fun. It was fun. It was the historical show, but there were some technical difficulties. And the truth of the matter is, Priest 2 just had more people, so there was more fun.
We had Snow and we had Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, Jon Snow as well. It was nice to have another new perspective to the band.
Yep.
If I'd thought of Lana sooner, I'd probably have asked her to come on as well, because I know she'd be on Priest. And like, considering how much I disliked Priest before this all LeBrain train started, they've become a real part of my identity in this community, for better or for worse. And I'm happy to say that I don't feel strongly negative like I used to. The Priest show was just fun. It was fun to revisit and actually give a proper list more reflective of my tastes, because I had changed by that point. And just Priest.
I had a great time with Priest 2. I think it was one of the best shows we've done as well. I think the first Priest show was really good, but I know you feel dated because your taste, like you said, your more modern list is more reflective of your tastes. And but I really enjoyed that first one. It was your first appearance in the show. The second one was the anniversary of your first appearance in the show, and technically it was better. And yeah, having Jeff and John on was great. John just finished reviewing all those albums. He just did Nostradamus this week. Brought his daughters to a Blue Jays game about 15 years ago. The Wiggles were out front. Then she got chosen to run the bases. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so cool pick, Harrison. That's a cool pick. I really love that. That was a lot of fun for me. T-Bone. Got so many pages in front of me. T-Bone, number one. Harrison LeBrain birthday bash, July 23, 2021. There's so many reasons that he loved this one. First, he wrote a song for Harrison. Happy birthday to the Mad Metal Man. And it seemed to go over very well. Yes, that's an understatement, which made him happy. So well, in fact, that Meat went out of his way to compliment him, which meant a lot. Why does Meat's compliment mean so much? What is this praise from Meat that means so much? Then later in the show, Mike plays another of my new songs called Fuck Pants. And when it was over, Meat seemed so disappointed in that song that I literally laughed for hours out loud at his expression when it ended. It was as if he wished he could retract his previous compliments. Then to top it all off, Brent Jensen made an appearance to contribute to the show and just to kick it over the top. Excuse me. So many reasons why this is his number one show. Honorable mention. He doesn't remember the episode, but I do. The episode where I ran the Deke's Palace trailer. That would have been April 1st because Deke's Palace trailer was made for an April Fool's joke. So that actually was the Max the Axe interview show where I ran the Deke's Palace trailer. T-Bone's #1 interview show, no shock here, Andy Curran and Mike Fraser, April 16th, 2020 run. With so many great guests appearing in the show, it's extremely difficult to pick a favorite, but I have to say it's Andy Curran. His stories of meeting Iron Maiden and playing tennis with Steve Harris, losing their record deal while having dinner with a manager. You okay, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Just endless, juicy, awesome behind-the-scenes stories, rock and roll goodness. But the reason I chose this episode in particular, the cool interaction between Andy and Mike Fraser as the epic doubleheader went from game 1 to game 2. Those are some of the coolest memories that he's watched in any form on his TV, internet, or anywhere. I literally had goosebumps when they first brought Fraser on to talk to Andy. So very cool. Honorable mention. Literally every other celebrity show you've done. There's not a bad one in my opinion. Picking this list was hard. Thank you, T-Bone. Thank you. I really appreciate all those great comments from T-Bone. And that's it. Yeah. We've done the Nigel Tufnell top 10 list of.
I know T-Bone said that lengthening HBD Triple M might make it lose some of its charm. But yeah, the only reason I understand, and the only reason I asked for maybe he can extend it is because I want to hear more, because I love it so much.
I do too. I'd like to hear more. Maybe some more solos. I
was thinking more lyrics, because lyrics are T-Bone's piece de resistance.
I'm losing track of what all the comments are about. I remember that guy. Yeah. I didn't know that he was. So Ryan DeSaulnier was an alternate for the Wiggle stage show. Interesting. We have run down so many great episodes, but there's some interesting moments of evolution to talk about. We did those first 4 shows, and I felt like I was running out of steam. Didn't know what else to talk about. So we started getting comments from readers and viewers, and that's when we started doing things like somebody asked me to talk about every Judas Priest album. So I did a show on the complete Judas Priest. And then he asked me, do a show on your favorite vinyl. So I grabbed some of my favorite vinyl out of my closet. And how about box sets? Okay, well, I'll grab some box sets out of my closet. But eventually I'm like, what do I talk about anymore? Like, I can't keep doing vinyl and box sets. Like, I'm out of ideas. And that is when Meat suggested this Nigel Tufnell top 10. That was the first time, as you said, the first time the train had been saved. Yes. No, I was talking to my actual sweetie, Brian, but I do appreciate you clarifying that. So Meat kind of revitalized the show, kept it going. We did top Rush albums on May 16th of 2020. The following week, we came back and we did the top Kiss albums. And that had Scotty Peddle contributing a list. It had Jompa Wilmanius, Scott Carson. The following week after that was you and I doing the Judas Priest albums. That was the third Nigel Tufnell top 10 ever.
And speaking of Priest 1 and Evolution, at some point I wouldn't mind showing that a picture of my setup for that show, because it has evolved since.
You emailed that to me. I'll put that up. Yeah.
Perhaps at the end I can just give a bit of a talk about that, because it was a bit fun. Anyway, please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so Priest albums was actually only the third Nigel Tufnell ever. Wow. And I think it was probably the first one without Meat.
Yeah, probably.
The following week, we did another Nigel Tufnell top 10, but it was a tribute to my uncle Don, who had just passed. So that one was kind of done with my family members. We did a Nigel Tufnell top 10 as our fourth Nigel Tufnell top 10, a tribute to my uncle. The following week was the greatest live albums, part 1, which T-Bone loved. Then we did the top superhero movies with Holland. Top AC/DC albums. Sorry.
Just about superhero movies, I know it's not the most fondly remembered in terms of the technical limitations of how we conducted it. But back then, I still thought that talking about movies was a nice fresh thing to talk about, because it is.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Batman.
The 5 Batman movies that were all different at number 1 was
that Batman dominated. But look how many of these list shows we did in a row. This is Meat just suggesting it. We ran with it. And this whole time, actually, I'm also buying more like equipment, and I was like getting Amazon deliveries live on camera, and I was like testing out new microphones and cables and all this new cameras. So like every week
on camera.
Right, exactly. There was so much going on. Top superhero movies, top AC/DC albums, top ballads, which meet again. That was a great show. Then we did a second top live albums. And only then did we take a break from the Nigel Tofnell top 10 format. And Deke and I did a great show that I really enjoyed called Lead Singer's Disease.
Ah, yes.
We talked about all the lead singer changes that happened in the 90s. That was a lot of fun. And again, another great one with a lot of research on our part. Then came the 80s history, nostalgia stream, a lot of these non-countdowns, but it was fun just to shake it up a little bit. More countdowns than we did our very first interview with Stormforce, and that was all Deke earning his tag, Balls of Steel.
Yeah. I'd argue that was the second time that LeBrain train was saved / enhanced. You know?
Enhanced, not saved, because we were still going full speed ahead. But at that point, we thought, maybe we can do some more. And
take it up a notch.
And eventually, we started by talking to some friends. We talked to Steph Hond, as was mentioned earlier.
Was so close to making my list, Steph Hond.
It was a great interview.
Would have been number 12. Hearing about Paul Diano was nice for me.
Yeah, that was
Steph Hond was just a cool guy.
Yeah, I do want to get Steph back on. Problem is that he's in France, and he seems to only be available, like, for me, Saturday mornings. So not the greatest time slot. But we did Steph. Then the next interview we did was Frank Lafredo, who had just recently been the subject of that movie, Crocs and Rolls. And then Brent Jensen. Once we had Brent Jensen under our belt, then Deke got – was it Deke or was it Meat? Deke got Martin Popoff. Yeah, Deke got Martin Popoff. That opened the door to Mike Fraser. Mm-hmm. And once we had Mike Fraser, it was off to the races, basically. It snowballed because everybody respects Mike Fraser. So we got Mike Fraser February 13th. Jan 29th of this year. And we spent 2 hours with him. He was fantastic. And then the interviews just started rolling in. We had Andy Curran, Sean Kelly, everybody else that we've talked about.
Yeah, we had like months booked up ahead, like a month or so, just with like interviews and stuff.
Yes.
There was a period. Yeah.
There's a period here where we've got 5 interviews in a row, one of which is a double show weekend. Robert Lawson and Jacob Moon were the same weekend, Friday and Saturday. Andy Curran the week before that. Suicide Star the week after that. And Ryan Williams the week after that. So we had this run of 5 interviews, and it's like, holy crap, we haven't done a list show in a while. Do we still do those? We came back from those interviews with the top debut albums list show, which everybody seems to love. We made a whole bunch of lists tonight. And you know what, Lana? Let's really, really, really quickly, let's just address this. Charlie Watts from the Stones passed earlier this week, so we really should say something about that right now.
Stones deep cuts would be a good one too.
That would be an Aaron show.
Got
to get Aaron.
I remember I'll just tell a bit of my experience with the Stones, if you don't mind. It started, my dad has Tattoo You on vinyl, so nice. Start Me Up naturally became my favorite Stones song. And I remember coming back from a holiday one year, it was like a 4-5 hour drive, and we caught this I don't think we caught all of it, but we caught at least a good portion, at least half, I think, of a top 50 Rolling Stones song countdown on the radio. And nice. That was just so much fun there, just driving home, listening to all of that Stones.
That would be cool. I don't know how capable I am of doing Stones deep cuts. We might just have to do favorite Stones songs. Because I do not have, I do not have the depth of Stones knowledge that a guy like Aaron has, or probably even somebody like Lana has. But I could absolutely participate. Sorry?
I don't have any good Stones knowledge. My default is just deep cuts because I find it always more interesting to talk about the lesser known stuff than the stuff that you hear on the radio. But
I think we would get that naturally if we did anything Stones with Aaron.
Yeah.
But
Doom and Gloom would be on my list. So,
nice pick. I would entertain the idea of doing a Stones list show, but I would do favorite Stones songs because that would be what I'm capable of doing. But yeah, some great suggestions here tonight, and I'm not sure what we're going to do next week. Although Meat suggested that if I don't do a rerun next week, that I've kind of reneged on this whole finale shit.
I think Dusty and ZZ Top.
ZZ Top. Okay, so maybe that's what we'll do next week is rerun the ZZ Top.
Stones the week after.
We could. Yeah, we could. Maybe that's what we'll do. ZZ Top next week. That was a great show, and that was January, so it's been 8 months, almost 9 months since we've run that show. And of course, with Dusty's passing, it gains a little bit extra perspective. It was one of my favorite shows. Absolutely. Man, we've done so many. Just looking at this list. 81 shows. 81 shows. I can't believe it. Here we are. We've been in this pandemic for 18 months, and I'm finally taking a break. Deep Purple deep cuts. I wonder if that'd be a good one to get Marco involved with. That might be interesting.
Smooth answer.
That's funny. And yeah, it is appropriate though. Charlie Watts was so important to the Stones that
a drummer is good when I, of all people, shout their name out in my review. Because my ears don't really pick up drums in the back that much. So.
Yes, it's a thing that a lot of musicians pick up on because they're tied into the beat, and they appreciate it a lot. And I'm no musician, but Charlie, Charlie had a unique sound. The Stones used to say, if there was no Charlie, there was no Stones. Obviously, they're continuing to do a tour without him, which that's fine. I respect that. It is what it is.
They just have to call himself the Rolling.
The Rolling. Or just the Stones, because he was the roll. Yes, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Ooh, that would be nice. I'd appreciate that. And I give a big, big, big round of applause to this guy here, because he went live for the first time the week before I did. So obviously I stole the idea from him. And he's still going. And you should check out his show on Wednesdays. And also tonight, check out Visions and Sound. But this is the guy that went live first. And I thought, well, hell, I guess I can do it too. That would be great. See, there's so many great ideas. It's just, I do need a break. And maybe next week, the ZZ Top show, nice long weekend, take a break and not have to do one live. That might be a nice thing. I'd really enjoy rewatching some of these shows myself. There's so many. Like, how many hours? You figure 81 shows multiplied by an average of probably a low estimate for average would be 2 hours. That'd be like low estimate.
Yeah, I guess.
So you multiply. Right, yeah. Like, nobody's ever going to watch all of these shows. Nobody. I like to say borrowed. Okay, I appreciate, Rob. I stole it from you, though. Yeah, so like reruns make sense. After you've got that many hours, let's play a rerun. Let's get some of these hours back in the spotlight that they deserve to be. And it's also kind of funny because when I was doing the live test earlier this week, that T-Bone episode, that was from December, and we're all dressed in warm clothing. Deke's got a freaking hoodie on, and it's like, it's so obvious that it's cold. And to me, it was obvious that it was not live. I kind of look forward to that kind of thing too, seeing some winter episodes where we're all bundled up. Of course, you are in winter right now.
Yeah, we're just in the tail end. We had of the 31 days in July, I think it rained something like 28 of them. We had possibly the wettest July ever. It was really nice. But now it's August and it's winter has sort of forgotten that it's supposed to be winter now.
So it's starting to warm.
Yeah.
Well, it is very warm here. I'll tell you that. It is very hot. It has been a hot summer. Well, Harrison, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say tonight.
I've just got one last picture to...
Right, yes. Okay, so you emailed me this picture. This is your setup that you had for
I just
the very
thought it would
first...
be fun to just talk a little bit about how my setup changed.
If I had the foresight, I would have taken a photo to represent what my original setup looked like when my camera was like you said, falling down all the time.
I took it originally for posterity and to remember, but it was able to come in useful for today, just for a bit of fun to talk about.
Okay, hang on a second here. I don't know. Try this again. Share. Screen. Chrome tab. And shoot. Did it work? No, it didn't work. It's too small. Why is that not working?
Might have
Sorry.
to do what you did for the mural one.
Right. Window. There we go. Okay, hopefully this looks better. There we go.
Yeah.
So that's about
bas-
Go ahead.
Sorry. So yeah, part of the reason why you didn't see the diner in the pre-show is because I was using it there, and I was basically balancing this iPad on portrait mode on the lip of the that balcony bit there, because I had to use something that could use the Facebook app. So it was this
Right.
iPad. But by the next time I appeared, I had the laptop. So I, instead of a Lego model it was resting on, it now rests on a big pile of books in order to get it to the right height. But I've basically sort of kept the same general thing in that the list goes on the left, the drinks go on the right. I've since got a new chair, and because this chair was a bit wider at the base than my other one, I had to shift all this stuff over to that side if I wanted to keep it its place basically where it usually stores. So that's why you don't see the diner anymore. But now you get to see Pulse, and I get to put other stuff up. So not much has changed, but I thought it was just funny that I used a Lego model as a stand earlier.
So what you said earlier is actually something I hadn't said everything I wanted to say, apparently. You just reminded me. I wanted to touch on the difficulties that we had at the very beginning because we had to use Facebook Live. So,
Oh god, the playback, that was annoying.
Right. Oh my God. There was an audio lag issue, but originally the only way that I could live stream was on a phone with Facebook Live. So like you said earlier, I used to have it propped up and it used to tip over. And then I moved my operations outdoors, and I literally had my phone like on a ledge in my balcony. And it was a nightmare. Facebook Live was so unreliable. It only seemed to invite certain people to share the screen with me. You were one, Deke was one, and Meat was one. I don't know why. It would only work on a phone, not a laptop. And I was looking for some way to do this better because Facebook Live, there was no, I wanted to get Aaron involved, and Aaron does not use Facebook. No problem. Funny enough, if you look on Facebook, there's an account called Mr. Books KMA, and that was from an aborted attempt to get him on to Facebook. Yeah, it was a test and it didn't work. And I didn't want him to get a Facebook account for the sake of this. We knew that there was going to be a better way to do it. And then Kevin Simister said, "Hey, why don't you try this StreamYard?" And I guess his buddy Bill at Start to Continue used StreamYard. And Kevin's like, "I think it does everything that you want it to do." So I logged in one day, and although it's not on the official show list, I sent Aaron an invite, and all of a sudden, Aaron and I were live streaming on Facebook using StreamYard. And Sarah Simister happened to be hanging around. I sent Sarah an invite.
I remember that one. Yeah,
it's on my website. I just don't count it as an official episode.
I think I watched that one live.
It was like 45 minutes worth of us chatting. Sarah, Aaron, and I were just chatting about quarantine and music and everything else. And it's like, that was the first time we got Aaron on the show. We did like a phone thing with him, but I couldn't hear him. So that didn't work.
Holland we did phone with, but did we?
And I couldn't hear him. The problem with the phone things, I couldn't hear anybody.
That was funny because I heard the phone. Well, I was watching the Holland one with the phone, and I heard that. I heard it loud and clear through my computer. So
my experience sitting in front of the computer and trying to do it, I could not hear anything. So just
I never knew that. Sorry.
Yeah, like I was trying to get him and Deke to talk to each other, and it wasn't working for me. I could hear nothing. So it was a dead end. We knew that the phone thing wasn't going to work long term, and StreamYard saved the day. So, Kevin is yet another person who saved the show. We've got 3 people who have saved the show. We got Meat who saved the show. We got Kevin, and we got Dar.
And then T-Bone and Deke basically took it up another notch.
Yeah, man. T-Bone with all the original music and videos that I've been able to play. And Deke with his balls of steel and the graphics. And Sage, too. Giving credit where credit's due.
Oh, yes.
Sage with the original LeBrain train graphics, that T-Bone still uses that as the basis of most of his graphics. He throws that train that Sage did. Sage's art still lives on as well, even though I haven't used Sage in a while because T-Bone. Sage, I respect and I pay for everything that Sage has done, and T-Bone does it for free. But that's just, he's such a nice guy, and Sage, it's her business. So, but I would like still to get Sage to design the T-shirts that I still want to do. But shit, man, I mean, this has been a roller coaster of a week. I thought I was quitting earlier in the week, and in a sense, like the live aspect of the show is not going to happen every week anymore. I get to take breaks now, and we're going to do reruns, and it's going to be great. And I think we've decided tonight that it's going to be the ZZ Top show, and I'm cool with that. I'm looking forward to watching the ZZ Top show over again, and depending on what I'm doing next weekend, maybe I'll hang around and drop comments and moderate comments and stuff like that. Who knows? I don't have to. It's great. And that's all Dar. And I think we need to play Ode to Dar one more time tonight, don't you? Yeah.
At least.
Well, is there...
I know the ending now.
You know what, Harrison? There is one more thing you wanted to see tonight.
Was there?
Yeah, there was.
I've seen it already. You brought it. You waved it around.
That's enough? I thought you wanted to see like me running around in the dark with it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if you still had it.
Oh yeah, the lightsaber is still. I might go run around in the dark with the lightsaber anyway, just for fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be live streamed. But okay, so thank you everyone for watching the finale of the weekly show. We're going to do a rerun next week of the ZZ Top Deep Cuts, which is a great fucking show that made a whole shit ton of lists tonight. I don't know what else to say, except I am grateful that people have been watching for these last 18 months. I hope that people enjoy watching the reruns because they'll give me a bit of a break. We will be back at the very latest on September 24th to do the Storm Force interview, but maybe we'll be back sooner than that. Who knows? Sounds like a lot of people have some ideas for stuff they want to do, and nobody seems to give a shit if nobody's watching. Although I do give a shit. It's hard to explain. I don't want to be yelling out into the ether with nobody watching. Yes, I do want to be talking to my friends about music and things that we're passionate about, but I don't know. I guess just because I have ownership of it, I guess my perspective of it is a little bit different. And to me, I've always said the same thing that David Lee Roth has said. It ain't no fucking good without an audience. And fortunately, we still have one. And look at these great, the comments have been fucking great tonight. And so again, anything else you want to say before we play Ode to Dar and call it a night?
Nothing much. I don't exactly have anything more than the regular stuff planned today. Planned coming up. So yeah, take it away, T-Bone, I think.
Take it away, T-Bone, and thank you, Dar, for this opportunity to highlight some old shows one more time and to give me a bit of a break going forward. This is a song that I co-wrote with T-Bone Erickson. It's called Ode to Dar. You have a wonderful night, Harrison, and tune in next week, everybody, for the rerun of the ZZ Top Deep Cuts show. Thanks, Harrison, and thanks, Meat, and everybody else. Have a great night. Ode to Dar. Cheers.
once was a man, a heavy beer drinking man. His name was Dar Erickson. He rode the train, the mighty LeBrain train, down the rails until dawn. Dar loved that train, he needed that train. He could not bear to see it gone. So Dar used his brain to save the LeBrain train, and now we all owe him one. Was a man, a heavy beer drinking man. His name was Dar Erickson. Dar used his brain to save the LeBrain train, and now we all owe him one.
Ticket to anywhere and a glazed donut. To go.